Dude, annoying as hell. My computer froze. My computer froze up on me. I had to reboot the damn thing. That's never happened before, doing a live stream at least. Wow. That's actually a little disconcerting to be straight up with you. I put a lot of money into this machine. Well, I'm glad it's working out for you, Benji. One second. Let me go ahead and put the link back up on Twitter. I don't know what caused the freeze. Like, it shouldn't have been an issue. And I've never frozen during a live stream. Is that, hey, what's going on, Flock? My computer froze, which has never happened, at least during a live stream before. I'll be honest with you, it's a little disconcerting. I've never experienced a computer freeze while I was streaming. I was just playing a regular old game. It wasn't like I was doing anything crazy. So I don't know. All I'll do is just spin it back up. We'll see if it happens again. If it happens again, then I'll know. All right, you got a problem, bro. Yeah, things have gotten real. Oh, I wonder when my last save was. I'm gonna be irritated as hell if I end up having to do a bunch of stuff over. Let me see. Oh, no. We're in. Okay, so we got to save in Galvino's workshop, and then this is at 18 days, 18 hours, 19 hours. Okay, so yep, and there's the autosave. Excellent. Okay, so we should be at a pretty decent spot. Let me go ahead and put it back to playing games. There we go. 3. Oh, as I was saying, right. So how badly did you screw your team over, 3? All right, so I thought I had already done a quick save while I was down here. No? All right, fine. Whatever. So we have to do like one fight over again. That's fine. I think there's another trap up here, right? There we go. Let him deal with that. There we go. There. And yes. There we go. Woo! All right. Once you get up to 30, and hey, you're up to 30 now. Excellent. Ooh! Look at that. I appreciate that. Who am I going for? You, I guess. Whoa! You started paying attention to him after that. That's not cool. Boom, boom. And excellent. Okay. Pick that up. We already read that stuff. Pick that up.
That's settled.
Pick that up. All right, now we'll quick save. There we go. Bad news, it's a demon. I say that as if I congratulate someone. Good news, it's still trapped. More bad news, so are we. So, is it official that you screwed over your team then, or is there still hope? Because I assume it's possible for you all to be wiped. And I also assume that they're not going to be all that happy with you if that occurs.
Oh?
As I recall, he's not running a campaign, but he's in a campaign where he's thoroughly screwing over the people who are working with him. What is the problem? Why does it seem like y'all are not attacking? And why aren't you closer? Here we go. Okay, first of all. Boom. 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 Girl, why do I have to do these things for you? Why are you not? What does it take to get you to do this automatically? Durant's. All right. There we go. And in fact, you can connect with Durant's as well. Let's do that. Wow, this dude is actually kind of hardy. Why does it seem like He's barely being affected by this. Come on now. You should be going down by now. Here, we'll do this, and then you do a little bit of this. So I gathered, oh, my good news is the surgery went well and determined I don't have cancer. Bad news is Wrath is having trouble. I think that's considerably less important news, sir. That's really not bad news considering the good news that you had. I think we can focus on that. That's really good to hear, man. Said it's over. Having trouble doing it to your save file. Did they say why? Have they figured out like what the issue is?
Your thoughts must go deep.
So I gathered the team and we went down there because we thought that it had something to do with the ghost death. Nope, this is an entirely separate thing. Worst news. The skeptic followed us. Hold on. What is the problem? Why are you not doing that? There we go. Are y'all paralyzed? Neither one of you. Are you immune to paralyzation? No, you are not. So this should be working. Get to being paralyzed. Thank you very much. And we'll do, whoa, why'd you go all the way over here? Oh, you know what? You're still sitting around there? Here, let's pick this up before somebody steps on it. There we go. There we go. Why did you not pick this up? What is the problem, sir? You failed to disarm the trap. That probably means it's going to obliterate my party if I step on it. So let's avoid that. Add her, and then you. So girl, you can also come over here and do the same thing. Add her. Okay. I said laugh. I appreciate it. I was about to say, I think most of their focus is on Rogue Trader because GW either mess with it in a weird way or want it perfect. Also, the franchise is gargantuan since it's been around for so long. Yeah, but they've also said that they plan to move forward with more Pathfinder DLC. So it's definitely not like they're going to be avoiding Pathfinder now. This hulking contraption hums with power. Approaching within a few feet sets a peculiar buzzing in your teeth. So it would make sense to me that they're still going to be putting in a lot of effort into it. But we'll see. We'll see how it all works out. Honestly, I'm only going to be able to put so much effort into it after a while as well. Like, once I get through with this demon playthrough, and I'll do some content for Enhanced Edition, but I might end up annoying. An impressive assortment of wine bottles lines these shelves. Most appear to be Valiant vintages. I might be a little burnt out on it as well, to be honest with you. Like, I've been playing this game almost straight for just about a year, so it'll be interesting to see how long the Enhanced Edition holds my attention. I'm strongly considering going ahead and doing a live playthrough when Enhanced Edition comes out, just to give it one last go. I might even let the channel vote on which mythic path I go down. This platter has gone entirely untouched, leaving the tantalizing meal to the flies. And then once that's done, I'll probably truly be finished. Key, interesting. Let me say the skeptic is no longer skeptic, but more good news. We found a journal detailing how to escape. Even worse news, we have to shut the lights off and wander in the dark to escape. This is a fascinating game you try to play through. I have no doubt in my mind I will make a solid story with interesting mechanics, but the question is how buggy it is at launch. Luckily, they have 2 games of experience. Yeah, but I feel like in both games, it was super buggy. Like, I'm definitely one of the people who felt like Wrath of the Righteous was way buggier than it should have been upon launch. And so that makes me worried for how things are going to work with Warhammer when it finally comes out. I felt like it was kind of a situation where They made things harder and worse than it should have been.
My thoughts will be as silent as my feet.
Especially because the um while the sales of Wrath of the Righteous, I think, met the goals that Alcat had, I kind of feel like the coverage of it was subpar. Like there wasn't nearly enough of the major media companies releasing reviews and helping to drive up hype. And I think part of that is because the launch of Kingmaker was so bad. So I think they really, really needed to have a better launch with Wrath of the Righteous, and they did. But I think it's still way buggier than what anybody would really want, unfortunately. To be fair, rogue traders are probably the most flexible faction 40k besides Recruiter or Inquisitors. If they went with Space Marines, it's not much growth for an RPG. Plus, GW doesn't seem to care about third-party development of their IP, given how often they throw it out there. Interesting. Or their own production company. It seems like they have a really, really bad reputation. This Vatican's head has been all but scarred away by some unknown spell. The wood is warped and pitted through. All right. That's all I can do over in this area, right? Yeah. Oh, wait. Were there doors there? Let me check. Nah, I see an open area, but there's no door. I can't click this any kind of way, right? Yep. Okay, cool. I hope you don't burn out or anything. Never be afraid to mix things up to avoid that. Yep, that's exactly the plan. So I feel like I'll be playing through Pillars of Eternity, and then we'll probably do Pathfinder next. And I think you all already realize when I'm burnt out, I just don't live stream. Like, hey, like I'm not treating this like a job. I'm not treating this like, oh my, no matter what, you have to live stream. You can feel like absolute crap, but you still need to get on. No, if I feel like crap, you all don't see me. it just is what it is. But when I feel up to it, I'm always happy to jump on. And I think that's going to help me to not feel like I'm being burnt out and not feel like this is a job all the time. So I'm definitely going to stick with that. I'm doing this at a pace that really works well for me. And then, of course, also, I'm going to keep myself from being burnt out by the type of games that we play. So, you know, I prefer taking games one at a time. And if I start a playthrough, go ahead and finish it. But if it turns out that, I'm just completely burnt out on a particular game and I have no interest in playing it anymore, then we'll stop. We'll move on to another playthrough. Yes. And that's actually part of the reason why I'm not doing the DLC for Pathfinder. Like, technically, that's probably what I should be doing to, like, draw on the most people or whatever, but I don't care. It's not the type of DLC I enjoy. So why play it? Why play it at all? On a plus, Wrath of the Righteous was rest buggy. Yep. I paid for the alpha access, so I'll be giving them as much feedback as humanly possible. I want Alcat to succeed. I'm going to be doing the exact same thing. I'm probably not going to play the beta access as many times as I play Wrath of the Righteous. For those of you who have been with the channel since the beginning, I probably played that beta like, what, 4 or 5 times, like dropping 1 hour a day playthroughs the whole lead up to the game. I'm definitely not doing that again, but we definitely will play through it at least once. And if they allow us to live stream it, then I'll definitely be live streaming it. Speaking of a Mythic Path builds, as I mentioned before, the computer crash, I was wondering if you made yourself as a character in Wrath of the Righteous, what would your class Mythic Path ideally be? That's interesting. I guess I'm probably a Zada. Like, I'm kind of a team player type of guy. I want us all to get together and all succeed and all have a good time. Something Cavalier related. I actually really, really love mounted combat in the game. And I love the idea of having an animal companion that I could take with me into battle. So, I guess as an Azada, I would already have Avu. But if I got to choose like my own animal companion, I'd probably end up choosing like the saber-toothed tiger, whatever that one is called. I really, really like the way that it looks, and it feels kind of like the kind of animal that I would walk around with. GW is literally a coin flip success. It's a perpetual name for Warhammer fans when it comes to their video games. Interesting.
Surrounds me.
I'm thinking about giving up the werewolf and playing as a fae. What? How could you possibly have the opportunity to play a werewolf and give it up? That's the one thing I really don't like about Vampire the Masquerade. In general, I hate the focus on vampires. I'm much more. Why does it do that? Why is it when I click on something like this, it moves the camera back down? I don't like that at all. I hate the focus on vampires. I'm much more of a werewolf guy. And I wish Vampire the Masquerade lets you play as a werewolf. Whoa. And then these more guys got involved. This is not cool. How long is your paralyzation? You've got more paralyzation for a while. So let's go ahead and go with this person instead. You're paralyzed. Now we're going to move him up. Boom, boom, boom. And we'll do you. There you go. Oh, and it was almost done anyway. Excellent. You know how people suffer from that burnout and never have any fun. Yeah, that's not going to be me. I only do it when it feels good, and when it doesn't feel good anymore, I stop doing it.
Now this I haven't seen before.
Ooh, I like that sound. The Fae can do one or two things to you. They can either A, make you screw something simple up at a crucial moment, taking 1 harm if applicable. For PCs, everyone has 4 harm. They can take everything. You just want a Zada because Abu is the best girl. Abu is fantastic. You're literally described it by a Zada. Everything else is cannon fodder. The Fae can add 2 to a roll of vengeance. Interesting. So you like the mechanics of it. Me and you, Boss Page. Me and you. We'll probably be Trickster and Winter Witch. You like the Winter Witch. That's interesting. When I play games, I am a total evil overlord or minion of chaos, but in real life, probably an oracle because I was born really sick. But I've been told I make people feel better when I talk to them. Nice. Nice. Well, I guess that's why it's not called Werewolf the Masquerade. Then, hey, don't be trying to bring your little logic to my comments, all right? Just take my comments as they are. Don't be mentioning like, oh, well, you know, it makes sense that there's no werewolves in it. Nah, I don't want to hear that. Damn, good game. Random mom pushing Edda into a trap. I know, right? I saw that. Like, that was unfortunate because I'm more tricksty and witty than brutish and intimidating. That makes this 3. Okay. I like the idea of not being the strongest or fastest or even most educated, but having a strength of will that helps other people succeed. Makes sense. That's absolutely a good way to be. You literally have to be nuts to not have Dragon Companion. Avu could have been all your path mechanically. She was just so cool. Love it. Plus, she likes cookies. Yeah, Avu's awesome. I was shocked by how awesome she is and how much dialogue she has in the game. Like, they did a really, really nice job with her. Ha! Your money or your life, friend. A teeny voice rises from within the chest of this headless machine. From time to time, a burst of sparks accompanies the rattling of its innards. Excuse me? Get a little lost, did we? There's a toll on these roads. 500 copper. You'll have a new set of nostrils to breathe out of. The construct's arms twitch spasmodically at its sides. Intellect, I've come to help you. You're free of this place. Free? What are you on about? But you're a construct. What? Is that some kind of insult? I'll show you a concept if you don't hand over your money. A faint, ominous glow emerges from within the creature's cassis. You're in a cell. Look around you. A philosopher, is it? All of us trapped within the cages of our own iniquity? I'll have none of that. There's a manic quality to the voice now, and you hear a harsh, metallic whine from within the construct's frame. We're not on the road. You really are lost. Tell you what, pay up and I'll point you to Log Home. That's a decent trade, isn't it? The door's right there. Be free. Hey, you're right. It's wide open. The creature takes a lurching step forward. A fierce, bright light shines within the construct's frame. Ha! Farewell, stranger. I'm free.
I'm free. No cell can hold me.
Ooh. Unfortunate.
Silence surrounds me. Something over there.
Blood Rider's out. It seems so crazy. With Finian, the werewolf's all about physical force and dominance. Fae is all about using your wits. Okay. I can see the appeal. Ooh. The machine is gangster, trying to take money from me by force. Come on, man. I don't appreciate that at all. Let's try that again. I don't like the way this game handles traps, to be honest with you. I feel like I have to get way too close before I notice them. Durant's is right here, and he's got a crazy amount of mechanic skill. How does he not? I'll accept that he can't pick up some traps. How is he not able to even see it?
What?
This close.
Damn it.
What is that? All right. We're just going to have Eder walk over it. Fine. It's fine. Because, I mean, I could give Duran something to increase what? What is the problem? Perception, maybe? Like, is perception what even? But I don't think perception is what disarm difficulty. So mechanics is what allows you to disarm them. But do you need, is it perception that determines in combat and grants a bonus to interrupt? What determines how well you can see traps? Open locks and find. Okay, so how good you are in mechanics determines how good you are at actually finding traps. I've got a 9 in mechanics right now, which is considerable. It's got to be. Come on, man.
Hey.
Wait a minute. And is he close to a level up? I almost want to just come back to this room. He is close to a level up. You know what? We're going to come back to this room.
All right,
and see if after maybe he's leveled up, if it's anything different.
They shall see nothing while I see much.
Are traps either a non-issue or ridiculously lethal in RPGs? Man, I'm certainly getting that feeling. That is the ridiculously lethal variety. Maybe there's a hidden perception type trigger that everyone fails. Like, what in value? I don't know, but I don't appreciate it. We're going to freeze you up, and we're going to freeze you up. Whoa, there's a lot of y'all. Yo, that's not good. Oh, snap. Okay. Let's put some poison on all you guys. We don't appreciate that. And you're knocked down. You're not doing anything. Your stuff is automatic. This guy is not paralyzed. You go ahead and knock him down. I kind of want to. Whoa. She's coming over here to do terrible things, I can tell. You too, both of you, at her. There we go. There we go. Yeah, that's exactly what I want you to do. Woo! Very, very nice. You freeze up. Low. What are you at? Hey, you got one of these. Let's go here. You go this way. There we go. And that should be enough to get you down, right? Yep. Carving through you nicely. Carving through you nicely. There we go. All a bunch of cell stuff. No, there we go. What is going on here? So we got this purple thing that we can talk to. Okay. Let's search around a little bit more before we do that. So annoying. So annoying. Tufts of hair are still stuck to the metal slats of this helmet. You spy dark smudges along the edges of the manacles. What difficulty? Normal. Nothing crazy. Sparks crawl over the wires and plates of this machine, illuminating the innards with each burst of light. 3 switches. And we can talk to this person. Let's save here just in case I screw this up some type of way. I don't think I've ever seen it balanced, honestly. Like even older games that, like Baldur's Gate, it was you're stunned in an empty room for 6 seconds, or you take 2,000 damage, get wrecked, scrub. Yeah, super weird. I don't like it. I don't like the way the game does it. You hear a faint, reedy voice singing tunelessly. Okay, I'm going to assume that one of these books I just picked up maybe is supposed to have notes from Azo. Except, there's not an option to there was not an option to organize things based upon the time in which you picked it up. So I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with this. All right, I've already done a quick save. Let's see what happens. Let's flip some switches. We'll flip this switch. And this switch. Short series of clicks from around the corner. And I can no longer... Oh, here we go. I am free, Galvino. I will eat your heart, old man. Interesting. And bam! And he's paralyzed. Oh, but he's not paralyzed anymore. Here, get you paralyzed back again. Come on now, hold on. Get you paralyzed back again. Oh. Whoa. Oh, that's just a regular shadow. Okay, cool. And hey, look who's got a level up. Ooh, and some sort of pistol from there. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, is this the room we avoided? This is the room we were avoiding before. Okay. Let's see what happens. Durance. More mechanics. A little bit more. Now what happens to you, sir? Oh, spell mastery. Suppress affliction is really important. Free use of that spell once per encounter. Holy power. Consecrated ground is another good one. I think I like, yeah, Might and Resolve. This one is really good. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. Fine. Woo, look at those pretty spells. All right.
Oh?
How's it work now? How we doing? How we looking? Still nothing? It's whack. The way that...
See now what the flame has shown us?
Good Lord. All right. Whatever. Yeah. I'm definitely going to talk about this in my review.
That's not nice.
Ooh, medicine time. Older CBRPGs were completely Barodol.
What?
Let's see. Can we open this? Yes, we can open this. We can open this.
That's settled.
A couple of lockpicks and some gold? You like that behind a check that hard? What is the deal? Let's see. And this.
That's settled.
There we go. Okay. Now we can get out of here. What do you think of Avowed? What's going on, Ghost Ninja? Glad you're able to join. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on it at this time, except that I definitely will play it. But they just haven't showed much of it yet at this point. So I'm really, really hoping we're going to get more information about it soon because I'm excited for it. It's basically, it basically seems like they're trying to do their version. Obsidian is trying to do their version of Skyrim or Morrowind, which is really, really exciting to me because I personally consider Obsidian to be better writers than Bethesda, even though thus far I think Bethesda has created better open world games. Like their games last longer and are talked about longer as far as how much gameplay you can actually get from them. So seeing what Obsidian is going to be able to do trying to get into this market, I think is very exciting. But we'll see. We'll see. They haven't shown us nearly enough yet to make a decision. Boom, 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 boom. Well, somebody's still up. Let's change that. There we go. That bar's cutting all the way through you. Oh, yeah, you don't like that. You don't like that at all. They were different, although I admit I didn't like D&D Wrath of the Righteous. And Pillars are pretty strong old school RPGs.
That's settled.
Well, okay, you can pick up some of these traps. Bye, my love. Sleep well. Miss the lack of hand holding. I felt like the strong suit of Bethesda games in terms of their long life is far more due to mods, ability to be modded compared to just the game standalone. But that's true, but you still got to give mods a sandbox that make them motivated to get involved. And the fact of the matter is that Bethesda has been able to do a much better job of that than come on, man. So annoying. I've got a 10. This area is meant for you to come into it at levels like 6 or 7. Okay. So we're all coming up here. Fine. So I still, even though I definitely agree with you that modders are the reason for Bethesda's success, I still give Bethesda a lot of credit because, frankly, no other developer has been able to create these sandboxes that attract the modders and make them want to make content for the way that they have. It's not something everybody can do. And Palagina. Oops, nope, not her. Palagina. There we go. And you too, Palagina. Is this scripted to just not be disarmed? What do you mean? Oh, you're talking about the trap. Like, is it maybe the way it's supposed to be that I just can't disarm it? I mean, if so, that's still whack. Like, that's not a good gameplay experience. I purposefully have set this character up with an extremely high mechanic skill to ensure that I'm able to disable the traps that we run into. I am playing content that is at an appropriate level. It's not like I'm skipping around. So I should be able to disable those traps. Like, come on now. Eat some mechanic food. I mean, I could, but it's just not worth it to me. Like, whatever. I'm still going to hit level 20 or whatever the highest level is, so it's not like I really need it. I'm definitely hoping Avowed is going to be worthy of the Pillars franchise. You know, that's the other thing. I believe that Avowed is a prequel for Pillars of Eternity. It's either it's either that it's a prequel or it's just definitely not related to this series. And so the question becomes, how different is it going to be? You're not going to play as the Watcher. And so even though it's set in the same world, it's going to be very interesting to find out how similar it actually is. And that's another reason why I'm really, really looking forward to seeing some content. And again, let's be honest, one of Obsidian's main weaknesses is that they're known for releasing extremely buggy games. This is going to be a game that's far larger in scope than anything else that they've ever dropped. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how stable it was. I mean, to be honest, like Fallout New Vegas is considered this classic, incredible game now. But when it first dropped, it was almost unplayable. Like you could get through it, but it was like on the border unplayable considering all the bugs and issues that game had. Despite the stellar writing and the fantastic quest structure and all the other things that made that game so amazing, there are a lot of people who writ it off completely because there were so many bugs. They can't avoid that with Avowed. Like they don't have the customer base that's going to allow them to just, push through a terrible launch where everybody, like they can't have a kingmaker with Avowed. They need it to do much better. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're capable of that. And to me, in my mind, that's part of the reason we probably haven't seen anything yet, because they're running into those kind of issues and we're about to see what kind of developer they are, what they can actually handle. An elderly man hunches over a cluttered desk in the back of the workshop. His flesh is pulled tightly around thin, fragile-looking bones, except around his neck, where it hangs in loose waddles. Waddles? He turns as you enter, a scowl already chiseled into his lined face. And I totally agree with you. I was just saying that the mining community is a bit plus the game. Absolutely. I see. Well, I don't know, man. Awaken, what's going on? How are you? Glad you're able to make the stream. Good to be back. I remember disarming everything here, but I meta XP gained some skill checks with these. I hope we see more of Avowed. Since they show so little of it, they could easily make up for their other game mistakes by making it really good. Absolutely. New Vegas wasn't fully their fault, though. That was mostly the Bethesda's fault in my book. I mean, but how do you look at that? Bethesda gave them a time frame from the very beginning. You can't say, well, Bethesda should have been willing to put in more money and push that time frame back when that was the agreed upon time frame, and Obsidian knew what they had to work with. That's number one. Number two, you can't blame Obsidian for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, which was also an extremely buggy game upon launch, much more so than Knights of the Old Republic 1. I think at this point, it's safe to say Obsidian has a reputation. They have a reputation for creating excellent RPGs that are extremely well written, but also very, very buggy. I don't remember Tyranny being especially buggy, though. I think that launch was relatively okay, but I could be wrong. But I definitely feel like they have something that they need to prove with Avowed. They had a main game, so they said that, and we still have no. Yeah, Hulkmo, what's going on? Glad you're able to make the stream. Yeah, Dragon Age 4 news not being present is annoying me as well. Is that going to release in 2023? I would really, really love confirmation on that, especially with the Netflix show dropping at the end of the year. It seems like now is when you would get the hype train rolling, but we're seeing nothing. And so, again, it makes me feel like they don't really have their stuff together. And they were waffling back and forth on what type of game Dragon Age 4 would be anyway. So that all just makes me even more uncomfortable. I might be biased now that I think about it, but the company has been messed up lately. They really needed 76 to fail, so they wake up. Oh, yeah, Bethesda has lost a lot of my trust. Like, I used to be, between Skyrim and then Fallout 3, and then I gave them some degree of credit for Fallout New Vegas because they kicked it all off. So that made me appreciate them. And even though I didn't feel like Fallout 4 was as good as the other two prequels, it was at least it was an RPG for me to play around with it. I didn't feel like really bad about it. But Fallout 76 really crushed a lot of the goodwill that they have built up with me. So it'll be interesting to see what the next Elder Scrolls game is like. And of course, Starfield, which I'll be honest, I'm not particularly impressed by the trailers.
Back again? I told you.
He hesitates, squinting at you from behind smudged and dusty spectacles.
Of course, a fresh fool to replace the last fools. What brings you stomping through my workshop, eh?
He draws his words out, looking you up and down. A sneer creeps across his face. Seems like you already... I heard myself off Steve. Heard you can use it instead. Seems like you already know. Oh, wait. What were those things?
My work. And from the racket outside, I must assume you made a mess of them.
He scowls at you.
Come on, Galvino, they weren't your best work.
Woo! I forgot you get Devil of Karok here. From a personality standpoint, she is my favorite character in the game. Like, we're not going to keep her in the party because mechanically, I don't like her. I feel personally like she's hard to keep alive. Like, the rogue, even with that armor, is really squishy. But from a personality standpoint, she is my favorite. And in my opinion, she has the best delivered line in the entire game. When you unlock it as part of a quest, I'm sure we'll get to it. But when she said worth coming for this alone, you could feel the violence in that. Loved it. Loved it. Can't wait to travel with this character again.
And you are? I should melt you for parts, Amora.
Wait, say nothing.
But you come seeking the White Forge, like they all do.
I would love Dragon Age 4 news needed. I'm right there with you. I can say anything about Bethesda beginning. Fallout 4 for me was a challenge. Managed to hit every known bug in the wiki. Yeah, Fallout 4 wasn't their best, but I hadn't been completely crushed at that point. Fallout 76, I agree, Boss Space was mega bad. That was the one where I was really like, okay, this is unacceptable. Especially with the Netflix Dragon Age story being confirmed as canon. Really? So it is going to be canon. That's going to be an absolute must watch. And I have to assume we're going to, if nothing else, if we don't hear anything before then, that hopefully is when we'll finally get news about this freaking game. I'm actually a huge fan of Dragon Age, and I'm going to get back to making Dragon Age content, but I feel like I need to figure out a way to do those videos differently so that it provides more value to people. And I'm still working through what that's going to be. I'll probably circle back to that after we get through an enhanced edition. Also, bugs, lots of bugs. Yeah, Fallout 4 was amazing, but it had a lot of warning signs for me. Absolutely. I saw that and thought, how did this happen? How did this get released, even as a customer? Yeah, Karok being a rogue, forced to wear plate mail kind of screws her a bit. Yeah, I don't like her mechanically, but the personality and the voice acting, big fan.
Boys with smooth cheeks and wild dreams. Girls with bright ribbons tied next to their scabbards.
His voice rises and falls with the sing-song of mockery.
Old men and women, too, seeking a final blaze of glory before they're snuffed out for another turn at the wheel. Sound familiar?
His smile is rigid as he looks at you, and the corner of his eye twitches. You said this all before, I take it.
I have this conversation with every pig-headed swashbuckler those Postanagos and stalwarts send here. Go see Galvino, they say. Surely he'll help you.
Must have slipped their minds what a busy and important fellow you are.
In the silence that follows, the temperature in the room seems to drop. Galvino glares at her. I should have let them
stone you. Would have silenced your endless rattling forever.
The hanging folds of skin beneath his neck tremble.
Then you'd have naught but those frost-bitten inbreds for company.
I guess this is what it'd be like if Olive and Esselmere were two separate people. Come now, I sound nothing like either of them. Perception, you're upset. There's an old wound with Stalwart then?
The spiteful imbeciles destroyed my career, ruined years of work. But let us focus on the reason for your visit, yes? The villagers and their adventurers hammer and pry at the battery as if they were laying siege to some moldering lord's keep.
He swatched the air in front of his face.
But those stones were laid by some of the finest builders ever to have lived, disciples of Abidan in the truest sense. They will not fall by the whims of any kith. And the door itself, it is infused with living essence.
He holds his hands before him, and his eyes are wide with wonder. Intellect. The doors themselves must have had a way of getting in.
Perfetto! This is the crux of the matter.
He claps his hands together.
The Pargrunen of Durgan's battery perished within their own keep, victims of a violent disagreement among their own commandants.
His mouth twists into a wicked grin.
Surely in the village you have heard stories, no? Disappearing caravans, tracks in the snow, screams from the high towers.
He pauses, watching your expression with a rancor's glee.
The work of spirits still trapped in the battery, and they testament to those impenetrable walls.
He raps on the mortared stone of his own home.
But the door of the keep, the one the Pargrunen filled with essence, it was made to listen, to recognize its masters.
I sense a catch.
Traditional Optapo cultures revolved around language. Words revealed who they were and where they were from. That is why you need a cat deck.
He holds up a twitching finger. Lore. Ah, yes. I believe those are anthems of sorts.
That's the simple explanation. A Kantek is a statement of purpose, a declaration of identity. Each is unique to its stronghold.
Ha! Seal your door with a key of words, and any liar can talk his way through. There's nothing built of words that won't break when the slightest stress is applied.
Thus, to enter a fortress like Durgan's battery, you would stand at the gate and recite its Kantek.
He spreads his arms, his face aglow. I'm a mega fan of Dragon Age and Mass Effect. Me too. Can't wait. Yeah. I guess people should have known about 76. A Bethesda game with no mod support should have told people something, given that company has never released a non-buggy game besides Fallout Shelter, I guess, which I never played. But yeah, Fallout 76 is one of the few times I didn't go out and buy a major RPG. Like usually I play just about any RPG that comes out, but I looked at that and said, I'm not going to waste my money. You're not going to do this to me. Had to calm down. I thought a Dragon Age 4 trailer would be at Gamescom 2022. Like last year, they released a teaser for Dread Wolf, but sadly mistaken. Yeah, it was unfortunate. I'm just not confident that they have figured out the direction for Dragon Age 4, to be honest with you. The fact that we've gone this long with no news whatsoever, I mean, games get announced early as hell all the time. So, and to me, if it doesn't come out in 2023, that's a surefire indication that they had trouble figuring out the direction and they're trying to pull things together. So, which is fine, but I wish that there was some sort of communication. I miss the old BioWare where it had the full forums and you could just go onto the forums and everybody was talking back and forth and there was a central location where everybody who loved these games could go ahead and be able to talk and share information. When they took those down, it was, to me, it was so damaging to the community. You know, Isilmir is the best character in the game. I love my need to go to the snow for the burn. I like this. It's like the door in Lord of the Rings. Speak, friend, and enter as a cool concept. Absolutely. I was playing Conan Exiles when Fallout 76 came out. I was still playing it after. How is Conan Exiles? I actually used to like the trailers and thought it looked interesting, but I just can't get wrapped up into another MMO. I just discovered a character of mine got specifically mentioned in the story event for my favorite MMO. Oh, it's cool. You think they are that Yeah, that headless indirection. Well, if you remember, there were stories that they were talking about making Dragon Age 4 a strategy game and basically moving away from the single player RPG format. In fact, I think they took a poll or were basically found a way to ask the community about it. And luckily, the community made it very, very clear that they were not with that and it's something that they were not interested in. So definitely, I feel like they're trying to reinvent the wheel with Dragon Age 4 and more than likely they're having some trouble figuring out what that's going to look like. Do you think they'll make a new CRPG, Pillars of Eternity, or do you think they'll shift focus to first-person Skyrim style? For Avowed, it's definitely going to be first-person Skyrim style, but it's also not going to be based around the Watcher's story. So the next true sequel to Pillars of Eternity might still be that CRPG format. I don't think I wouldn't necessarily assume that Obsidian is finished with CRPGs, but for Avowed, they're definitely going for a much broader market. So it's definitely going to be that Skyrim style. All right. What an incredible tradition.
Verus. A shame the Postonagos here cannot appreciate such elegance. To learn the Cantech, you must speak with one of the dwarves of Durgan's battery. A shame they are all dead, no?
He rubs his hands together, pacing.
But no doubt their souls live on in one or two of the villagers of Stalwart. Like fine wine poured into a cheap pot.
Derision curls his lips.
But to identify them, that is the first problem. You would need the skills of an animancer.
You're an animancer. The Golem's head turns in one slow, oil-smooth movement.
Yeah, Galvino, why don't you go back to Stalwart? Oh, there's a sight I'd rust my joints to see.
Enough!
He snatches an ink pot from the desk and hurls it at the Golem. It flies wide, spattering the wall with ink. Motionless, the Golem watches him with her black glass eyes.
I shall speak no more of that damned village.
Galvino's mouth and brows have calcified into a stern expression. I'm a watcher. The Golem swivels her head sharply toward you. Her mask of a face and the glass eyes behind it betray no emotion, but it seems as if she's watching you carefully.
A watcher? The Verus? If this is true, then you could find a sole descendant from Durgan's battery, no question. But the greater difficulty remains.
Galvino rubs his gaunt, whiskered cheeks. They had that kind of forums? Oh, yeah. The Bioware forums, honestly, I felt like it was the best, and I'm probably biased in this, but I felt like it was the best forums in video games at one time. Like the community there was so vibrant. Like they were talking throughout the year. So the game wasn't going to be coming out for months, but there was still a ton of people coming to the forums, talking about builds, talking about the concept of role playing. Like it was a huge deal when Mass Effect was announced and they were going to have voice characters. There was a lot of debate back and forth about is a voice character something good in role-playing games, or does it do more for your ability to role play if the character has no voice and you imagine what the voice is going to be like? A lot of really, really deep philosophical discussions about what makes games great. And all of that, of course, was lost when they shut the forums down. They shut it down because the forums became incredibly toxic after Mass Effect 3, where it was people used it because Mass Effect, BioWare had a lot of people who hated it. And I'll be honest, I feel like part of the reason for that is I feel like BioWare was the first ones to really truly force and push forward diversity in video games. Like other developers were doing it, but I feel like it was front and center with BioWare in a way that other developers, were not comfortable with. And I feel like there was a huge swath of the gaming community that was waiting for an opportunity to tear BioWare down. And so you got a lot of people who were toxic about the end of the Mass Effect series for legitimate reasons because it was absolutely terrible. But there were other people who were toxic just because they wanted to see Bioware fail, just because they wanted to take the opportunity to tear down their developers and tear down the people who were working on these games. And so they decided, you know what? We'd rather just do away with the forums completely, which I understood because I can't imagine being a part of a company where you feel like you're getting death threats and people are saying crazy things to you all the time. But still, it was a loss. That community was absolutely incredible. Really hope they keep classes for Valve. Yep, me too. What Anthem was. Yeah, I'm sorry. Anthem is another one that I completely skipped over. I looked at it and I was like, doesn't seem like it's going to do what I want to do. My last straw was Mass Effect Andromeda. I was disgusted with Mass Effect Andromeda, especially since it seemed like part of the reason was so bad was because they took resources and put them on Anthem, and made me hate it even more. But I actually did buy that game and play it. Sooner or later, I'll play it and review it for the channel. Just like class archetype systems, give me something to focus on. I'm way too chaotic. Absolutely. Shame Old Bioware was a great RPG company. I miss what's going on. Glad you're able to make the stream. Appreciate the support, man. Camera, glad you were able to make it, man. Dylan, what's going on? Bunch of new people all of a sudden in the chat. I didn't even know that forum existed until now. Oh, yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. I really enjoyed it. It's really cool. Reminds me of early WoW days. Awesome. Conan Exiles is best at clan versus clan PvP. If that's not your thing, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you like PvP and building, it's a great game. That's awesome. Okay, I was wondering, the trailers actually looked intriguing, so I always wondered whether or not that was a decent game. Hulkmo, BioWare was rock stars back then. Absolutely. To me, BioWare was the gaming company. Like, they were the only company then, and they'll probably now be the only company ever where I feel like I would just buy anything they made. I was even buying the mobile games. I hate playing games on my phone, but they came out with a Dragon Age mobile game, and I was on there playing the little characters because I was like, I just want anything associated with BioWare. I'll probably never again love a video game company as much as I loved BioWare through that Knights of the Old Republic 1 all the way to Mass Effect 3 period. Because I actually didn't play the Baldur's Gate games when they came out. I circled back way later on. So my introduction to BioWare was actually Knights of the Old Republic. Forrest, I say. Felipe, what's going on? Glad you're able to join the stream. Boss Page, there was really deep conversation sometimes in game. I'm all the way for voices in most game a bit, but there are some games like Doom you don't need it. Yep. Dagon, you're right. Dragon Age 2 was another one. That was another like nail in the coffin. There was such a huge outpouring of criticism about Dragon Age 2, especially the fact that all of the characters were bisexual. A lot of people in the gaming community, I would argue a lot of them not BioWare fans to begin with, were enraged by this and felt like, it was woke and they were adding things in the games that didn't need to be there. And I'm like, why? What does it matter to me if this party member is lesbian? How does that impact whether or not, I appreciate this person? Like, there were other aspects of it that I didn't enjoy. Like, I felt like it was wrong for them to change Anders. I felt like it was wrong for them to change Anders' sexuality, and I just did not like his character overall. So that was the point, but they just hated the whole concept. There's some people who just want games to be a certain way, and I'm the exact opposite. I want more creativity in games. I want people trying more things. I want them trying to broaden the scope and add in perspectives that we haven't seen before, because that's going to make things more interesting. I don't want the same cookie cutter thing over and over and over again. And in order to get that different perspective, you're going to get people who have different ideas about what they want to see in games. It's not bad. It's not bad. Come on, man. I remember Andromeda. I thought the combat was okay, but aside from that, yeah, it certainly wasn't the best. Andromeda was terrible if you look at it in comparison with the Mass Effect series overall. Like, if you look at it by itself, it's just, a crappy game. But if you look at it in comparison to the Mass Effect series and what it was supposed to follow up on, to me, it was a tragedy. It was absolutely tragedy. I was really, really upset with that game. think people mostly hated DA2's extreme budget saving measures, like the one dungeon rather than the story. That's true, but I don't feel like that's where the hate came from. That's where the criticism came from, and that was legit criticism. The fact that the repeating that same few dungeons over and over again was terrible concept, terrible. But the hate came from the things that they did regarding diversity, and I felt like in a lot of ways it was uncalled for. I think people mostly hate it. I learned English with Dragon Age Origins, bro. Really? That's crazy. A story event that wouldn't have happened in the stupid four stalls. There's a faction that was then slaughter. Oh, the writer for DA2 got death threats too. Yep, they did. Right, and those death threats weren't because of them using the same dungeon. It was because of those other elements. More creativity. I didn't like that I could only be. Oh man, I play games to be not me. Yeah, I prefer games. That's one of the things I really liked about Dragon Age Inquisition that we finally got to play as a Kunari. I definitely prefer when we can have more variation. I didn't like the character creation. Flying Brains, glad you were able to make the stream. What's going on? I didn't like the character creation. That was about it. The new characters were all bisexual. They were new, so I didn't really care. Exactly. Now, if they change multiple characters, exactly. Let's go home. Wow, with the creative freedom, multiple established characters. That's what I have huge issues with. DA2 almost made me quit Dragon Age, and I love Dragon Age. It's the worst in the series. There's no doubt about that. But it's not for the reasons that people are hating on it for. I feel like the problem was the repeated dungeons, the closed-in story, which I feel like they could have done a much better job with. The fact that you could only be human, like it just wasn't as interesting as Dragon Age Origins. Partly because they took away that Origins part. Like the diversity of the stories that you were able to play with is part of what made Origins so amazing. And they basically did away with all that in the second one. I think that was a bad call. Honestly, I don't care about diversity until it's forced and hurts the story. Like the Andromeda character that I think was trans didn't make sense how she was implemented. I don't think I remember her. So I'm not sure you're referencing, but absolutely. I've seen like forced diversity. Yeah. It doesn't feel good because you feel like the story would have been better served by not even having this. EA kill a beloved franchise since 1994. I actually don't blame EA for what happened with BioWare. I think BioWare did it to themselves, to be honest. I didn't even remember the DA2 dungeon you're talking about. Maybe I just mentally blocked it out. In Dragon Age 2, basically when you were running around doing quests, all the areas look the same. They reuse like the same 4 or 5 areas, and you just had to run through them again and again and again. We are going to go through the entire Dragon Age series on this channel, so sooner or later you'll see it. But yeah, it was terrible. They did a really, really poor job with the environments that you're supposed to travel through. I like DA2 much more than Inquisition? Camera. These opinions that you come out with, bro. Come on. How is Dragon Age 2 better than Inquisition? Explain, bro. Explain. I would still be T-Head if you could be a blood mage Herald of Andraste. It would make absolutely zero sense, but I would absolutely. No, it was EA. DA2 had to be cut and shipped because of constraints from EA. Really? Oh, I didn't know that. I always blame BioWare for it. All right. I am so sorry. I know some of you are actually here for Pillars of Eternity. You're like, when is this conversation going to end? I'm really passionate about RPGs and games and how to make them better. My bad.
You would have to learn the Cantic from the dormant soul. And to do that, you would have to awaken it.
Awaken someone? How would I do that?
An awakening is merely the jolting of a dormant soul into consciousness.
He makes a bursting motion with his hand, splaying his fingers wide.
When such things happen normally, it is because something has reminded the subject of a past life, often violently so.
He smacks his workbench with surprising vigor. Aloth flinches.
Thus, to awaken one of the former dwarves of Durgan's battery, you will need to address that soul, and preferably by name.
He folds his hands together, steepling his fingers.
But show some care. When you examine these souls, whatever it is you watchers do, You may see images, memories.
He leans forward, his back hunched.
These are moments of special import. What you see will tell you much about the person, and perhaps the condition in which they awaken.
He raises his hoary eyebrows and tilts his head back.
Awaken them from a traumatic memory, and who knows? Maybe they awaken thirsty for blood. Or maybe you awaken someone else.
He cackles again. You understand the consequences of an awakening as well as any, Slandered. Yet, perhaps there's a benefit to the process as well.
Here, this has been tuned to the Aeon of Durgan's battery. Use it near the villagers, and it should tell you if one has a soul old enough to have come from the battery.
He rummages around and produces an unfamiliar device. So the Cantech is all I need?
Who can say? None have yet opened Durgan's battery.
Galvino raises his hands, palms up.
But the ones that came before you, I think they got close. You may wish to find them and see what they discovered.
Yeah, I know. Oh, so okay, so yeah, you do remember Argo. Yeah, it's the reuse of environments. Thanks, Boss Page. I appreciate it. Glad you all having fun. Hang on, it's one of those characters that you walk up to her and the first thing they did was complain how she needed to go to another galaxy because being trans was so oppressive in the world of sorry sex. Wow. Yeah, I don't remember that character at all. Sooner or later, we'll probably play Andromeda on the channel, and then I'll be able to point that out and see if I also feel like it's completely out of place. Interesting. Inquisition is easily the worst Dragon Age game. Ho-hum story with the ending hidden in the DLC. I don't agree it's a ho-hum story, but I do agree that the ending is hidden in the DLC. MMO gameplay is core gameplay. I do agree with that. Worst companions in the series? I do not agree with that. Cassandra, Iron Bull, Varric. Who else would? Oh, Dorian. Solus? No, bruh. No, definitely not the worst. In Dragon Age 2, Anders was terrible. The Daedalus clan chick, also mediocre. Did not really like her as well. Aveline was like, she was okay, but she was also kind of bland. Like, she wasn't really all that special. I loved Isabella, but she was also real fan service, real. I don't know how you describe it, but the fact that she's walking around half naked all the time, it's like she's trying to draw in the player in a very infantile way. And I kind of count that against her, even though I actually really like her personality and feel like she's fun. Fenris was a good character. I really enjoyed him. But there's no way that Dragon Age Inquisition had the worst list of party members from the series. Come on now. Nah, stop it. It's second place. I agree about the MMO gameplay though. Like it did. It's very repetitive, and they have these huge open areas that are essentially empty, but they force you to walk through them to get to these tasks that you do over and over again. That's unfortunate, but I really enjoyed the story. I felt like the class and the mechanics, some of them were really, really cool. I enjoyed this some of the side quests. I thought the companions were awesome, and I thought the DLC was standout. I agree that it's unfortunate the real ending for the game is in DLC, and that you don't get that true ending from just playing through the game. But still, that ending is awesome and does such an amazing job of setting everyone up for Dragon Age 4 that I still love it. Yes, I knew I was crazy. I felt like I was running the same dungeon over again. Yeah. Thanks, Labas. I appreciate you. I mean, if I could control the awakenings like multiple personalities, you could potentially have limitless knowledge and skills. Awesome. I don't remember that at all. Now, when I see you around, Iron Bro was such a Cole. I forgot about Cole. Cole was great too. Sebastian was terrible. Come on now. Come on. I like the elf. Nah, man. Dragon Age, what was the worst? So boring, bad graphics, dumb story, wasn't even funny, 0 out of 10 game. No, I love Dragon Age Origins. I rank that number one with I can't even remember the chick's name. who was essentially like a bard that you meet, but she was also an archer. Um, Alistair, Morrigan. No, classic characters. All the Dragon Age 2 companions seem to embody a trope a bit too strongly. That might actually be true. It's been a while since I played it, so you might be right about that. Iron Bull is dead to me. I did his quest and he came running to me begging to make decisions for him, whether his beloved friends should live or the first Cunari diplomatic mission ever. Sorry, bro. R.I.P. Come on now. The thing I hated most about Dragon Age was the mechanic of needing to wait real world time to complete base tasks and such. I don't remember that. What are you referring to? Well, no, it had one of the greatest heroes' journeys. The Warden lost. The Warden lost big time, but through struggle, they managed to pull through with hard work and satisfies. You're naming people, but I don't remember them. Okay. Request for all RPG game devs. A way to select a given character creation choice as standard. Too many times I have respect only to realize I picked a female model. Yeah, I do that in Pathfinder all the time. I don't realize I've done it until I get to the end and you pick the voice. And you know, they always match up the voice with whatever the gender was that you selected in the beginning. So then I realized, oh, I guess I was a female. Let me go all the way back to the beginning and change that. Leliana, that's who I was thinking of. Thanks, Dagon. Would have fitted you. Ogren and Zevran was the best guy. Oh, I forgot about Zevran. Yep. I bought figurines of 3 heroines from the Rand series. I'm now a slightly happier man, probably. Yo, you like it that much? Man, I really need to check this out. I think it's kind of adult, right? Like I can't play it on the channel, but I'll have to check it out on my own. You keep talking about this. I found what's left of them, a journal and a title.
Most interesting.
He adjusts his spectacles as he peers at the tile.
They spent many days at the battery door. This looks like something that once belonged there.
He taps the tile. But this awakening would be permanent, wouldn't it?
Oh, yes. Whoever you awaken will live with the memories and the personality of a past life. Maybe peacefully, maybe not.
His bony shoulders rise in a shrug.
That is why you must pay attention to the soul you would awaken, no? It is a monumental thing to impose on another, but these are the very people who wish to rediscover the White Forge, Verus.
He removes his spectacles and polishes the dirty lenses with his tunic. I see. Thank you for your help. Morgan is waffle material. Oh, I love Morgan. If Leliana wasn't in the game, Morgan would be the person I romance every single time. I might have a thing for silly, shameless characters. No, Ogru was awesome. And Zevran. I love both of them. On the table where you can send out Inquisition people, build the forts and such. I remember taking up like a, oh, you're right. This is true. Yeah, it was whack. I remember that now. Yeah. Ringo is adult. Zevran flirting with an 80-year-old woman trying to save his soul was the best thing ever. The one thing I did like about Dragon Age 2 was relationship mechanics with the other characters. I hated that they got rid of that in DA1. See, I feel like they should have done a better job with that. I felt like being a rival wasn't handled properly. Like, I love the idea of being able to have a rival type relationship with my party members, but it shouldn't cause them to leave. Like, in work situations, you can say, I can't stand this person. This person has a personality that I don't mesh with at all, but they are competent and they get things done. And if I need a certain job done, this is the guy I want with me. I might not have a beer with this person, but when this task needs to get done, I want this person by my side. I don't think I've ever played a video game that allowed you to have that type of dynamic. And I think Dragon Age 2 was the closest a developer came to trying to have that dynamic, but they didn't bring it through all the way. And I agree, it would have been nice if they at least tried to do it for Dragon Age Inquisition. It's literally changed my life. Whoa, I'm learning Japanese because of it. Like it that much is an understatement. Wow, Japanese, from my understanding at least, is no joke to learn. How is that going? Any of your old dead one. Think about it. Speaking of adult games, it really helps you check out The Last Sovereign, the game that the one artist friend is the artist for, and Once Ever After. What artist friend is the artist for? Send me DMs, Argo. Send me DMs with these games that you want me to check out. Most of my gaming time is spent on content, so I don't have time to play a lot of games. But when I'm done with Enhanced Edition and we're just doing that live playthrough, I'm going to have a lot more time to be able to play whatever I want. And yes, you can make a video about it. There are 4 Let's Plays on YouTube, and 2 of the games have streamer mode that censors all the CGs, but it's not super streamable. Got you. Zevran, best party member. He exposed everybody. Keith, what's going on? How are you, man? Glad you could make it. He was the best. Speaking of, I don't like this guy. I play a necromancer in one of my D&D games who works with a paladin priest couple. They don't really like him. He uses necromancy, and more importantly, he uses necromancy to create a barbershop quartet. You have the most interesting playthrough experiences, man. They should have kept that dynamic. Japanese is going fairly well, getting better by the week. That's awesome. That is awesome. He dismisses the thought with a wave of a hand.
It is a pleasure to have such a courteous guest for a change. A shame you must dirty your boots in Stalwart.
I'm going with him.
The golem looks between you, her neck turning on its oiled joint.
You go to Stalwart? Is this your macabre sense of humor, or has something gone to rust in that beautiful head I crafted?
Galvino stares at her, agape.
No one will bother me while I'm with him. Besides, I can help him find people in Stalwart.
The golem's burnished face is eerily impassive.
You haven't been to Stalwart in 13 years. And this Watcher sees souls. What help could you be? Besides, I have need of you here. You owe whatever remains of your wicked life to me.
A frown sours on his lips as he taps his chest with a crooked finger. The golem says nothing, but her essence smolders. Resentment rises from her in shimmering waves. She swivels her head to look at you. What's the story between you two?
This charming specimen is a convicted murderer. The Devil of Carrick, she's called.
Mighty fine of you to start with my good qualities, and you wonder why we don't get more visitors.
Killed over a dozen people before they finally caught up to her in Stalwart. Perfect company for lonely camps and mountain passes, no?
He nudges you, all the while grinning wickedly at the motionless golem.
Hey, I know how to start a campfire.
The only reason she's not a frozen corpse is because I convinced the old mayor to let me try an experiment.
A shadow passes over his face. You put a person's soul into a metal body? He leans back, raising his hands.
Into a work of art. Look at this. Craftsmanship worthy of a jeweler.
He traces the scroll work that runs along the golem's jaw.
Fully articulated joints, capable of grasping a pen and writing her own name.
He grabs her hand and delicately bends her tapered fingers.
And of crushing your throat.
She snatches her hand away.
Show me another smith anywhere in the Deerwood who is capable of such delicacy and precision. She is a masterpiece.
Galvino steps back and takes a longer look at her. I respect Adam Savage and Jamie Hyneman on the note of being willing to collaborate with people you dislike, but respecting their skills and what they bring. This is what adults do. Come on now. That Alistair Morgan relationship exactly goes. Exactly. They had a really nice dynamic, but I've never seen the dynamic with the actual player character and another party member. And that's what I feel like Dragon Age 2 claimed the closest to doing, but they didn't quite pull it off. I think people misunderstood DA2's story. A lot of the complaints were the stories are interconnected, but I thought that was the point. Hawk isn't this omnipotent hero the stories say. Yes, that is the point, that they want to keep it more closed in and simpler, but the problem is, I think, is not that they simplified the story. The problem is that they simplified everything else. Like going through the same dungeon area over and over and over again. And I think the story of what happens with his family should have been done better as well. And so that kind of took away from what they wanted to accomplish. But I actually appreciated a story that's not about you saving the entire world or this grand scheme, that it's really just this closed, intimate story portrayal. I felt like that was probably a good take, but they didn't pull it off properly. I have so many. Sorry, I meant the Last Sovereign's art is made by the artist who made the Baldur's Gate character art. Oh, okay, okay, cool. Yeah, definitely send it to me. I love that shot. I'm looking forward to the Baldur's Gate 2 playthrough. That's why I'm known as chaotic, chaotic in my group. I wish they could make a live action Dragon Age movie or series like the upcoming D&D movie. That would be awesome. And maybe if the Netflix show does well enough, it'll be in the cards. Yeah, the DA2 family stories felt so rushed, especially with the mother. I do not like how that story ends. I don't feel like I don't feel like it makes any sense. And your decision making doesn't play into the storyline at all, which I also feel like was definitely a mistake. It did get old being attacked by 1,000 bandit ninjas every 5 minutes. Exactly. I mean, how many bandit ninjas are in Kirkwall anyways? Come on now. Exactly. Why did you build her?
Oh, I build a fortress or a village or anything to make something that keeps, that...
A disgusted sigh rattles in his throat.
It was the early days of the legacy. My peers in the colleges of animancy were filling the Hollowborn with the souls of animals.
He pauses, scratching his chin. You're right. By comparison, this sounds perfectly sane. He rolls his eyes.
I thought there was a better way.
He is silent for several seconds, his gaze growing distant.
One with a plum academy job back in Salona. Don't forget that part.
He glares at her with narrowed eyes. Ach, now we come to the truth. Reputation is everything in the Republics, and that reputation is built on success. Why is she called the Devil of Carrick?
She committed her first crime in the village of Carrick. Burned a family alive in their home.
He shrugs.
Did the same thing in half a dozen other villages, but their name stuck.
I take it your experiment didn't go over so well with the rest of the village.
Here we go.
She rolls her eyes, rasping them against their sockets.
They were going to stone her anyway. Why not allow her to be put to some useful purpose?
His lips curl back from yellowing teeth.
My life's ambition. To serve somebody's useful purpose.
Better than no purpose at all.
I approached Mayor Sinahiod and begged. He saw the potential and allowed me the privilege of attempting my little experiment.
He sneers at the words and the indignity they recall. His shoulders are stooped and his teeth bared.
Then, I accomplished what few animancers have even dreamed of. No academic support, no patron. Just me in the middle of nowhere.
He jabs a finger into his concave chest.
Oh, now you got him all wound up.
I transferred a fully intact soul from a living subject to a fabricated body. She retained her personalities, her memories, all of it.
He claws at the air with one thick-veined hand.
Yet the villagers saw only a stolen corpse.
He throws up his hands. Aren't you afraid she'll murder you?
She may be mad, but she's no fool. She wouldn't survive long on her own. If the villagers didn't send a hunting party after her, the Eremans would claim her. Her joints and mechanisms require maintenance, and she cannot perform all of it herself.
See, he's reminding me. In case I get any bright ideas.
I was wondering why she hadn't already attacked them. Back when I was trying to work before COVID made my earnings even worse, I would try to work, but managers of the kinds of jobs you can get without college are often... Maybe I just got really, really unlucky. I think your message got cut off, Benjamin. I can't see everything that you were trying to say. I liked Hawk. Sarcastic Hawk was actually a lot of fun, especially in this DLC they dropped with the whole ballroom thing. I enjoyed that. I like the relationship mechanics. I like Blood Mage, Assassin, and Shadow gameplay. Then there's Isabella, but that's about the only things I can say that DA2 had going for it. I definitely enjoy those things. I enjoy the close look at the Qunari. The Qunari is definitely one of my favorite creations from the Dragon Age universe. And so to see the Aeroshock and the way he interacted with the Canary and your interactions with him, I enjoyed all of that. If you know of Anders and what happens to him and Virgil, you already knew where he was headed, but thing he did to trigger that war was horrifying. Yeah. I wasn't a fan of how that all worked out. I liked the ending, but I feel like getting there, they could have done a better job. I wonder if to have party members be better in Avowed than they did in Skyrim. Those NPC followers were horrible. I certainly hope so. I mean, Obsidian is put their bread and butter is party based RPGs. I understand Avowed is not supposed to be party based, but to just completely abandon that and have mechanics that were as horrible as what Bethesda has done, I'm hoping that that's not what occurs. Doesn't the Devil of Carrick die? She doesn't have to die. She has two different endings. And goddamn Lita blocking every goddamn door. What are you talking about, Ghost Ninja? Lita? I want to see more of the Q. That I love the Kunari. And with us going to whatchamacallit, I feel like the Canary will definitely want to be there in the thick of things to see if they can shut down magic for all time. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of them. And my understanding is BioWare no longer has a good relationship with the Iron Bull's voice actor. So I'm very interested to see, is that character going to be in Dragon Age 4, or are they just going to abandon that, which I think would be deeply unfortunate. I also wish that there would be some explanation of why they're not working with Freddie Prinze Jr. anymore, because as far as I know, there's no sort of scandal with him. So it's weird and kind of disconcerting. I really liked Iron Bull, and I really liked Iron Bull's dynamic with Dorian. And so I definitely assume Dorian is going to be in this next game, and so that relationship to me should continue.
She's a fine specimen, her personality notwithstanding.
He waves one hand in a circular motion. The golem says nothing, but her essence moans. Oh, we already saw that. I'd like her to travel with me.
Quay? No, you don't know what you ask.
He shakes his head, waving his hands.
This woman, the Devil of Carrick, she was a notorious murderer, burned people alive all over the region. Besides, she works for me. After all, I am the one who preserved her.
He straightens his back and looks you up and down, taking your measure. Perception. Let me parade around town. It'll infuriate those villagers. You'd like that, wouldn't you?
So you get use of the Devil's services, and I get the satisfaction of knowing those stiffnecks are sweating through their small clothes, eh?
He sighs, but a smug grin has already worked its way across his face.
It's a deal.
Fine price for a blacksmith striker. Suppose I should be flattered.
And there you have it.
Ooh.
A bargain.
Who am I letting go of? I think I'm gonna let go of Allah.
Farewell.
He gives you a sardonic grin.
A moment. You are going back to Stalwart, yes? Perhaps you could do me a favor.
Galvino gives you a thoughtful frown. Tell me about this favor.
There is a man in the village named Grind, the head fisherman. The rest of Stalwart kisses his feet because he fills their stinking blades with speckleback. But I know he's not as virtuous as he seems.
This is how you get that quest. Okay. His face crinkles in vicious glee. What exactly... Wait, seems like you have a history with Grenade.
That self-righteous meddler engineered my eviction from the village. He turned them all against me. Now I want him to feel the scorn of those mush-brained imbeciles.
What exactly do you want me to do to him?
Humiliate him, of course. Show his neighbors what he truly is. And let him live with the disgrace.
He points vaguely in the direction of the village, his thin arm trembling.
He's always been a Ripple sponge addict. Just got good at hiding it once his sainted sister died and left him in charge of the fishery. But he keeps a stash in the fishery, sneaks in at night when the others have gone home, and emerges sluggish and red-eyed a few hours later. I want you to expose him. Go to the fishery after dark when it's empty. Find his ripple sponge and show it to Renengild.
I see.
Do not answer me now. But when you return to that festering eyesore and smell the stink of fish that hangs in the air, consider what I've said.
He grins.
Your misgivings collect like grime on a doorstep. But think, if this Green Day is a fraud, does he not deserve to be exposed? But be sure to approach the fishery by night, when it's empty. They will give you no end of trouble if they see you stealing during the day.
I hope we can see Sten again. Me too. That would be nice to see more of his story continue. It was kind of weird to have so much of the Kunari in Dragon Age 2, but no sign of them. Meant a lot of managers at low education jobs tend to be very petty and power hungry. Absolutely agree. Also, often sexist, at least in my various experiences watching and working. Absolutely agree. In fact, it's funny. I work for a major corporation now, like a Fortune 500 corporation. And the reason for that is before that time, I spent years working for very, very small companies, like a lot of times it's mom and pop shops, which I like because of culture. Like, I like more of an easygoing culture. I don't like the rigid structure that comes with a lot of corporations. But the last one I was at, they messed up my taxes. And my wife has always been my accountant. She was absolutely enraged that this occurred. And she was like, the next company you go to is going to be a real company, a large one, where these type of things do not happen. And so she actually searched around online herself and found this job. And she was like, can you do this? And I looked at it, I was like, yeah, this looks like something I could probably do. And she submitted my resume to it, and I interviewed it. I ended up getting the job. So I know all about the culture at those smaller places. And yeah, you have to deal with a lot of things that you don't necessarily have to deal with at larger corporations if they have a fully functioning, competent HR department. Whereas at these smaller places, a lot of times there barely is any HR. The HR is go to the owner of the company. But what if the owner is the one who's the problem? Never played Dragon Age Inquisition. Oh, I highly recommend you play it. Definitely recommend that you go ahead and play it. When something like that happens, usually that character is gone. Why do people hate the bull? I love the bull. I think Iron Bull is absolutely fantastic. Lita in Skyrim, she would just stand there in the doorway and you could not get past her. I feel like there's a lot of bugs and characters like that in Skyrim where people had issues. Just noticed there only one more update for complete release of Runok Horrible Person Simulator, more or less. With the powers of a god, you could be a lich. Ooh, another game where you could be a lich? This is, that works for me. That's a good wife. I'm glad you have a wonderful woman fighting your corner. Yep, I'm very appreciative. I appreciate her quite a deal. I want to know more about the expeditions who came to you before.
As would I, but there is little to tell. They never gave their names.
He tugs at his whiskers.
But they seem to know more about the battery than the others, which is unusual because they did not seem like typical adventurers.
He raises his snowy eyebrows. The eyebrows in the portrait are not snowy.
Their hands were smooth and marked with ink, not scars, and they traveled light. Unusually so.
He rubs at his chin.
Something else? Quay.
Tell me again. I don't need to know again. What were those constructs I encountered in your workshop?
Other projects, they are none of your concern.
He waves a hand and looks quickly away from you. Perception. You seem pretty eager to change the subject. He mutters furiously under his breath, raising his hands to the ceiling.
For years I've been trying to create another like the Devil of Carrick. Yet those post-Enagos in Starworld destroyed my machinery.
His drooping skin trembles in his rage.
Now, I can only create these broken, mindless things. The devil remains my most perfect creation.
His lips twist with the taste of something bitter. Why do you need more golems?
I can't present the Devil of Carrick to the academies, can I? A mad woman and a murderer? No. I need to bring a success to the Republics.
He rubs his hands together, frowning. Wait, where have you found the souls to create these other golems?
Smugglers, slavers, fugitives, the kind of riffraff that pass this way. Rarely missed, and good work to keep my little devil busy.
He shrugs. Never mind.
Something else? Quay.
I had questions about the Devil of Carrick.
As must the gods themselves.
Oh, enough about
Something
her.
else? Quay, you're the Watcher, so you must find a soul. When
Yeah,
you
he already
find
told me
such
that.
a one,
Farewell. All right. Let's look at formation. Make sure she's nice and back where she should be. No, you shouldn't be here. Because you are...
And what does
I
the
don't
flame
trust
reveal?
how sturdy you are. All right. That. That. Hey, get out of there. You'll be all right. This appears to be a crude rendering of the mountain surrounding Durgan's battery.
Sharp eyes and keen ears.
All right. Oh, you know what? We should go ahead and finish leveling up and then rest. It's a top-down game where the humans elves are your playthings. You place obstacles and then win and just watch the world slowly dive into chaos and madness. It's available for early access on Steam. Interesting. So is it considered like a strategy game? Lore. I think I have enough lore. You know what? I might need 11. Let's go with 11 just to be sure. What's going on here? Amplified wave. Manifests the target's allies' mental strengths and projects them outward forcefully, causing shockwave that inflicts crush damage and knocks any in the area of effect prone. A allied target, okay, disintegration. Burns away the ethereal sinew. Targets that have zero endurance reduced to zero, disintegrate into non-existence. If I remember, is this the one where I think it disintegrates them to the point that you can't loot them afterwards, right? And that's not something that I want. Destroy an enemy's memory with calculated accuracy, leaving them dazed and confused before rapidly jumping to up to 5 other enemies. That sounds great. Okay, we'll take that. Silly as that contest. Hey, man. Just working with what we got. Oh, crap. I don't remember this build at all. One moment, please. Got to pull up my build. And I don't have that stuff up since my computer froze up. And I've been doing a bunch of videos, so I got a bunch of scripts over here. So where are my builds? PoE companions, that's one thing. Where's the other? Not that. Here we go. Builds. Weapon specialization. Take the hit. Weapon specialization, weapon mastery. Did I already get weapon mastery? We already got weapon specialization. I assume we took weapon mastery. Take the hit. Which one is that? Friendly are 50% of damage taken redirected to caster as raw damage. There we go. Done. Wave is good. Yeah, they got no loot. Oh, she comes pre-leveled. Yeah, okay, so it doesn't give any loot. There we go. That's what I thought. I was like, I remember this. So yeah, same. We'll give you same deal. You can have that. Yeah, sort of strategy. There's some base building too, and you just corrupt the land as you build your base. You got to be careful with how you antagonize the people because you can get divine retribution. Angels will come down from heaven to wreck your base. You could potentially capture one if you have the right building or growth them into a fallen angel to help defend. That sounds interesting. Um, sounds like though it doesn't have any sort of story, right? So wait a minute, why is it showing her? Oh, it's showing both of them. That's weird. Wait. Oh, because I got rid of a loft. Okay, cool. All right, rest there. And we're good. There we go. And here. Let's save just in case something awful happens. I need all you all to come back. How do you like House of Dragon so far? I am shocked by how much I'm enjoying it. I actually expected it to be absolutely terrible. Because I was definitely one of those people who was not pleased at all with how the original Game of Thrones ended. And so, I don't need. In fact, I do know what convinced me. I saw a couple of reviews that said this show actually had a really strong start, and I was like, whatever, I'm gonna give it a try, but I'm probably not gonna watch it. And then I was like, oh my god, this reminds me of the way Game of Thrones used to be before those last couple of seasons, and I think I might actually stick with this. So I'm shocked by how much I have enjoyed it so far, and that it does seem pretty good up to this point. But we'll see how long they actually maintain that. We shall see. Because I feel like the real strength of Game of Thrones is different people rooted. There were so many different people you could root for, and obviously all of them were not going to win. Oh, did I just walk into a fight that I shouldn't have walked into? A man stands in the middle of the road. Without lowering the blade that rests on his shoulder, he takes 2 steps forward as if to speak for the group behind him. I was hoping for another gift bearer. They always carry surprises, and we love surprises. By we, of course, I mean me and this. The man taps the hilt of his sword. It'll be quick. Try to stay still. Damn! Really? Not even... Wow. Please let me be strong enough to whip this dude's ass, because this was just unacceptable. I can't believe he just spoke to me in this manner. What is this stuff? Body attunement, pain block. Nah, that's not stuff I would start the fight out with. I'm gonna freeze you up. How dare you? Yep, we're gonna teach y'all something real nice. All right, now her. No, you. Why are you doing whispers of treason? Good Lord. All right. And you also. Same deal. Point towards her. I guess that makes the most sense. And you come here. And you also come here. Oh, yeah. These guys are going down for real. Except let's go ahead and freeze you, because I don't appreciate what you're doing. And we'll give you the same treatment. And you can... no. We'll wait. That. Boom, boom. Palagina, come around.
I'm ready.
There you go. You're ready too? Let's go ahead and you can. There we go. And how dare you speak to me like that? Stay still? Unacceptable.
Be constant.
Oh, whoops, I forgot to loot the campus supplies last time we were here. Awesome. Not really your demon guy. One of the 3 archetypes. Lich, undead, necromancy, ice, fear, and terror. Puppet master. You give people negative traits and just watch as they all murder each other. Interesting. Devastator. Use demonic spells to absolutely wreak devastation upon the world. Massive spells such as earthquake and meteors. Fascinating. You create your own stories. The NPC behavior is highly advanced. It may not be the best NPC behavior, but it is one of the best. That all sounds absolutely fantastic. While not even a hello or hey, we're going to rob you, just straight to the stabbing. I know, right? Treating me like I'm a scrub. Hold on. I am so glad I was a high enough level to go ahead and deal with them right then. Would have been embarrassing to meet that group and not be able to put his foot in his mouth. Come on now. Help. Somebody help me. What's this about? Come on. Help. Please, I'm down here. Standing on a narrow outcropping far below the edge of the chasm, a villager waves his arms frantically. The villager is well out of reach, and the uneven, slick surface of the chasm would prove difficult to climb by hand. Is it Eder or Palagina? I can't remember. Let's try Palagina. Tie a rope around Palagina's waist. Eder has a solid grasp of knots and steps forward to secure the line with a sturdy knot. The trapped man presses himself against the chasm wall. Please hurry. The ice is starting to crack. Looking down, Palagina can see another smaller ledge further up along the side of the chasm. It is close enough to jump to, but it may not be able to support much weight. Jump down to the nearest ledge. Palagina leaps into the chasm. Palagina lands hard and the snow-covered outcropping shifts dangerously underfoot, but holds. On the ledge, Palagina takes a moment to survey the surroundings. Several sections of the cliffside below appear to be coated in sheets of ice, like windows set into the side of the chasm. The thin ice is pocked through with air bubbles, and moving too quickly across the surface could cause it to shatter. What's the difference between rappel down and continue the descent? Rappel down, I guess? Palagina takes firm hold of the rope, gives it a few tugs to ensure it's still holding fast, and leaps away from the ledge. Palagina is making good distance, only to end up swinging boots first towards what appears to be a sheet of ice along the chasm wall. Palagina's feet crash through, and a cluster of icy shards come crashing down. The villager yelps in pain, and he's buffeted by debris. As Palagina struggles free of the hole in the chasm wall, the wind begins to pick up. The freezing gusts tug fiercely at Palagina's clothing, howling past. Press on. Take shelter in the gap. Take shelter in the gap. Palagina takes refuge in the crevice. Several long moments pass before the winds finally calm. In the lull that follows, Palagina presses onwards. At last, Palagina comes to within arm's reach of the trapped villager and extends a hand toward him. Palagina grabs hold of the man and hoists him up. The villager wraps his arms tightly around his rescuer. Sections of the outcropping begin to crumble away into the darkness below. Passenger in tow, Palagina begins the ascent. With every upward movement, the man on Palagina's back cries out in pain. Palagina feels his grip loosening. Call out for help above. Familiar faces peer over the side of the chasm and then move away to pull at the rope. Palagina keeps a firm grip on the rope and is pulled easily up to safety. Who are you? Oh, thank you. I've been down there for so long I thought I was done for. I'm headed back to town. Watch your step out there. Did we really just do all that for 300 copper? Come on now.
And what does the flame reveal?
Oh, okay. Palagina is injured at least, so I'll take that. They react to everything you do. You could turn the town hero into a werewolf, a vampire, a serial killer, or a demon cultist that worships you. Additionally, you have someone with the right trait, the Necronomicon. Interesting. There's a lot going on in this game. Yeah, House of Dragons is pretty good. Helps when the book is finished. See, I never read the book. I read the books that Game of Thrones was based on, but I never got into any of the like prequel books because I just assumed that I wouldn't enjoy it all that much. So I think it's kind of cool actually that it turns out this is so good.
Even worse when dead. Got him and bring him.
Matron Bert. Oh, because I'm with the matron, they're okay with me, so they're not going to attack. Nice. I'll take it. Ooh, what's going on here? I just can't watch House of the Dragon after what they did to Game of Thrones. Yeah, I'm not happy with what they did with Game of Thrones either, but I gave it a chance, and I'm actually glad I did. I'm not hooked the way I was hooked on Game of Thrones, but it's definitely good. It's not bad. It's not bad stuff. It's a return to form. I want to, but I can't. I'm glad everyone else has enjoyed it, though. I understand. Repelling is faster. All right, so it's good I chose that then. Oh, this is the cave that we need to go into. Okay, cool. Sykes, you excited for Rings of Power or no? Excited? No. Am I going to watch it? Yes, but, you know, it's an Amazon show. I don't know. I don't feel, I'm not at the point where I feel confident in what Amazon does, so I keep hearing over and over again that visually the show is just absolutely incredible, and so I'm happy about that. But it remains to be seen if this is actually going to live up to everything that I'm sure they hope it will. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll put Eder on her. Oh, she's frozen. That's why. Not good. There we go. All right, now she'll come over here. Boom. Ooh, you're dead. Excellent. Excellent. Boom, 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 boom. I just don't have time for TV shows. Unfortunately, I'm kind of the same way. Like, all of my extra time really goes into making content for my channel and the stuff that's involved in that. I don't really have a lot of time for TV, but since I work from home, sometimes I can let the TV play while I'm doing other work. And so that gives me the opportunity to see some things that I might not otherwise see. Plus, I've been thinking about ways that I might want to expand what I do. Like, I really like the way YouTube gives me the ability to be creative. And I've been thinking about I might want to try to create another channel that maybe has nothing to do with games that allow me to be creative in a completely different way. So like maybe I'll review TV shows or review movies or things of that nature, something that I know interests me. And again, like we talked about before, it's a way to kind of keep things fresh where you don't feel burnout because you have to do the same thing over and over again. God dog it, why did I just run around doing that? It's okay. What does that symbol mean? That can't be good. Oh, well. We'll find out in a minute, I'm sure.
Oh?
Immune. They're immune to something. Something happened to them they're immune to. But regardless, ooh, you know what? I just realized I should talk with her. I've got the devil in my party because I want to make sure I get her personal quest. But I think I need to talk to her to get her personal quest. So we should do that. La, 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 la,
If secrets whisper here, I shall listen for them.
yeah, I just know. Oh, but you're alive. Bobby, what's going on? How are you? I know how much you like Lichcraft and Lichery, so I'll also tell you that you can design your own plague. That's another rune, I thought, unless you want more. You went mute. Oh, you didn't go mute. I'm gonna. Okay, I was about to say, wait a minute, huh? So what? When you say design your own plague, what kind of potential effects can it have? I'm hoping Rings of Power fails purely out of spite for Amazon. The story is about premier fan pins
If secrets whisper
were
here, I shall listen.
hilarious. What are you talking about? Premier fan pins? I am not in the know. This crate is empty, though it smells strongly of fish. Interesting. Can't go any further there. There's a bridge here. Okay. You know what? I guess we will stick on this side for now then. I'm listening to you on my PS4 because you're too quiet on my computer. My PS4 shut down. Ooh, that's not cool. Are you saying too quiet as in like my mic sounds too low? I forgot. Does she have any special things? Oh, let me... Aggressive. Use per rest. Aggressive. Yeah, okay. She doesn't have much AI options. And there we go. Ooh. She is getting absolutely destroyed, and I'm not sure why. Oh, maybe this isn't a part. Oh, no. I'm ready for them. We can make this happen. I was about to say, oh, he's confused? Can I still target him? I can. Okay, cool. And there we go. Ooh. Ooh, rough. You, deal with him. You. Who are you? Cypher. You're a monk. Good Lord. Nah, deal with this one first. There we go. And you. Do that. You just attack. And Durance, do whatever you're going to do. There we go. Paralyze her. End this. Excellent. Woo! That was touch and go for a second there. Jeez. Oh, these are those supplies that old girl wanted us to get. That's what this is. Yeah, it's those supplies. What's this about? Oh, quest finished. Hey, we're still working on... Okay, cool. Yep, we're good. Wait, there's nothing I owe, right? Gate hires a small group of mercenaries to join her up and rounding up vessels from Heritage Hill. Okay, fine. I'm fine. It's early morning here, so good morning, guys. Morning. Why does being on your PS4 make them louder? There was a red carpet ROP premiere event in London 2 days ago. Fans who won invitations were herded into standing pens, told to clap on command, and kept far away from any celebrities. Wow! That is not cool. Who thought that would be good press? In the trampled, bloody slush around this toppled wagon, you spy tracks leading back south along the path. Oh, they put the supplies there. Oh, crap. Come on now. God, dog it. All right.
Sharp eyes and keen ears.
Oh, my God. I guess she will not go this way. Good Lord, and there's even more. Did I save at that last fight? I don't even remember. All right. Oh, those are those little things, though. He's paralyzed. All right. Not there. God dog it, I didn't want it. Oh, okay, cool. Oh yeah, the devil is not one who's gonna be able to handle something like that. And you freeze him. Excellent. Excellent. Get away. There we go. And he can. You know what? Here, we'll focus on him.
Yes.
You could have not. Probably would have been better not to move first, dummy, but it's okay. There we go. Looks like he's about to recover from being paralyzed. There we go. All right. Woo. Rough.
They shall see nothing while I see much.
There we go. All right. Are we at the top? We're not even at the top. So you know what? We're going to continue a little bit more. But actually, you know what? No. We're going to go ahead and heal now. They can't do anything. That's fine. Ooh. Time for more of this. I believe he is referring to that group of fans that I got to come down and check out the ring. So some of the effects are death effects. You can only pick one in advance. That single one summon an explosion on the infected's death. Eventually, though advancement, it summons a meteor on the corpse upon death, causing an explosion. Or you can raise zombies to raise it at night. You can kill them off with organ failure, heat stroke, some medicinal terms that I can't remember or pronounce. There are a lot of options in this freaking game. That's awesome. But man, yeah, basically you won the chance to be an extra in a marketing stunt. Awful. Brent's friend told me Pillars of Eternity was really good. I would give it a try someday. Bobby, I highly recommend you give Pillars of Eternity a try. Pillars of Eternity 1 is a good quality RPG, and I feel like Pillars of Eternity 2 is a classic. It's absolutely fantastic. And both of them are well worth playing, and they're going to set you up to be ready to play Avowed. That's Amazon for you. They treat both their employees and guests like crap. Basically, I would be an extra for a movie, TV show if I was told expectations and compensated in it at least, like a free lunch or something. Don't tell me I'm a VIP and then treat me like an intern. Absolutely, I would be horrified if something like that happened to me, and I certainly wouldn't stick around. Well, you know, you stick around because you figure it's going to get better, and you don't realize, oh no, they're just going to make a photo op out of you. That's ridiculous. The morning is cold and silent. You are up on the plateau of the birthing bell, and there's no sound, no wind. The sky is a smooth, mortared gray. The forest beneath the plateau, nothing more than a jagged black silhouette. Even the rock, the Audra around you, it feels colder. The sun's warmth bled from it. Against the cold backdrop of the sky, you see the great birthing bell hanging from its arch of Audra. Its surface is tarnished, and the shadows inside the bell are dark, still. It seems to press down upon you, or simply, sadly, watching, as if standing above a grave formed from the table of the plateau and the remains of the mother's womb that now covers its surface. And there is something heavy in your hands. It breathes, gurgling, slick and wet, yet that is all it is. You find yourself filled with fear. You don't want to look at what you are holding. You don't want to touch it with your mind, and it is all you could do not to cast it from you. Examine what lies in your hands. The mass before you is vacant, flesh in the shape of a newborn, bubbles of saliva blunt at the mouth, expelled by its steady, gurgling breath, its arms, legs, head lolling, limp. No thought, no struggle, no desire to cry in protest or pain. There is nothing from within. There is an absence in your hands. Your hands tremble, shake, and the silence is broken as the chimes on your wrists echo with the trembling. And the chimes do not echo in the thoughts of the mass in your hands. There is no soul within to hear it. Reach out with your thoughts. The only emotions blanketing the plateau are the pain of the mother. The child breathes, its heart beats, but it makes no cry. The child feels light, empty. There's no joy in it, no fear, no thoughts at all. Yet in the hollows inside it, it breathes, a thing of habit, not life. You cannot move. Your trembling has subsided, and the birthing chimes on your wrist are as still as the child. The mother is crying, eager to see, begging to see the child. You feel a sudden spike of fear of being hunted. If you give the child to the mother, you will be blamed, and her anguish and rage shall fall upon you. She will not spare you or anyone you love. Of this you are certain. But you did not cause this. You don't think you caused it. And the mother begs, her arms outstretched. Hand her the child. The chimes sound once more as you give the child to its mother, and as the chime fades, there is the eager gleam, the welling joy, the questioning, and you draw upon it deeply, letting the hope stream into our eyes, letting our ears fill with the cries that you have heard countless times past from other children on the bell. You hear the laughter in the mother's voice and streams of tears that run down her face, and with a practiced motion, you weave a light that will never be into her eyes and thoughts. She will care for the child as if it were whole until you set her free. You will care for it until you find a way to heal what has happened, until the reality cannot be dispelled anymore. And still, cradled beneath the weeping woman that birthed it, the child in her arms does not hear the cries of the mother, does not react. It is an empty thing that breathes and carries nothing within it. And the chimes on your wrist lie still. They are bound to you like chains, never to sound inside a newborn's mind ever again. Wake up. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Really like her storyline. First, let's go ahead and increase you. Athletics, I think we have enough, but you know what? I'm going to give you one more just to be absolutely sure. And then class unlock. What do I want to do next for you? Palagina. You are. What have I done already? Rewind. This is level. What level are we at? We are at level. Ooh, we're at level 11. Reinforcing exhortation. Plus 20 for commands an ally to redouble their efforts, improving their deflection. Done. There we go. All right. There we go. And
Your mind comes bearing questions.
questions. Okay, now we can continue on with her story. When is Durant's gonna have an update? That's weird. The village and sometimes even the entire faction itself. Bruh. My favorite part is the demon cult mechanics. Man, you play the most interesting games and D&D type scenarios. I saw a Hollowborn at the birthing bell. The grieving mother's head bows and she raises her hands, cradling them slowly, so the chimes do not sound as she moves them. You feel a chill in the air, as if the vault of your mind is growing, too large for the thoughts within, and your breath is laced with a chill. To your horror, you hear her breathing, ragged, hacking, but strangely steady, and you can see saliva bunching at the corners of her lips, becoming thick ropes of drool that cast themselves down her chin. There's a smell of blood in the air, new, wet, and the salt, sharp tang in your mind. Coupled with this is the smell of sodden undergarments cloying at your senses. Take her shoulder, try and steady her. Stepping forward, your hand falls on her shoulder, and then you feel her begin to fall, rigid as a stone, and you place your other hand on her shoulder to steady her. Throughout, there is the horrid, steady breathing. Her clothes are wet. It is as if she is burning with fever beneath her tangled hair and beneath her threadbare robes, as if she is giving birth. With a slow, hissing intake of breath, her head rolls back on her shoulders, her eyes pressed tightly together like the lids of a newborn. Yet past the lids, you can see the piercing stare, vacant, cold, horribly. You sense nothing from her, not a thought, like the Hollowborn you held in her memory. You know if you try and pull away now, she will vanish into herself and vanish from your thoughts, perhaps forever. And you have a terrible feeling that whatever connects the two of you will be cut. She is as helpless before you as a child, and as you search your thoughts for a way to coax her to you. I got options. Princess, missed you as well. How are you? Glad you're able to join the stream. What's going on? um, Imagine the cries of the newborn from the first memory when you met. She jerks slightly before you, then her head tilts and the steady breathing breaks, and she gives a racking cry.
I thought it was my doing. I thought that I had stilled it with my thoughts. The child. It was just a child. What was done with it?
You helped give birth to a hollowborn, yet you made the mother think otherwise. Her breathing is steady again, but there is a life in it where there was not one before, and her emotions are building in her. Apprehension, confusion, welling up. She seems afraid to do more than simply be aware the memory is there.
It was not the last hollowborn on the birthing bell, and never again did I hear a child's cry.
You have found a death within me, one that many women have borne within them. The words swirl with impulses and weight, spiraling around her, and you feel as if you are being dragged into it. I sought to serve women in need, and instead, my hands ushered no new life. What happened next, I bear the responsibility for. What happened next?
The first birth was the deepest, the saddest. Nothing I could do could find the child's spirit, guide it to him.
You feel a strange absence between you, as if your thoughts are being shared across a great distance. The thought bleeds out for a moment, then returns, sharp, near, personal. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Glad you're doing well, Princess. I cannot understand what had happened, what I might have done. I feared No. I cannot dwell on that thought. The child was always there, always a reminder of what had happened, a marker. I made her care for it. I made them all care for it until I could find what had gone wrong. But the hollowborn, it wasn't your doing. It happened elsewhere.
Little word of the outside world reached us. It was enough time for rage and pain and grief to guide hands. I feared what would happen to the children, what would happen to me. Every mother knows her womb may shed a stillborn, but these cold, soulless creatures, the parents wouldn't have understood, and fear of the unknown breeds violence.
What happened then?
I held their minds within mine. I shaped and guided them as long as I could. And with each passing day, each new birth, the strain grew. And the more I felt my control slipping, the more I focused my thoughts. Eventually, even I succumbed to the power of my own illusion. I'd woven the threads so tightly that I could no longer see through them.
And then, one morning, I heard funeral bells tolling in the village. The sounds of wailing rose through the mist. A mother had died, her mind so focused on the care of her hollowborn child that she'd neglected even to feed herself. And with that, the illusion broke. The townsfolk saw their hollowborn the way they were, not the way I'd wished them to see. By the end of the day, they'd begun to look at me differently, too. I did not understand what had happened, but I knew enough to flee. And every suspicion that surfaced, every faded memory of what I'd done, I pressed it down, tucked it away. She feels cold, lonely, rigid. My skill failed me, but I did what was necessary. I regret the mother's death, but how much worse would it have been had I not acted? Hmm. There were other ways. You could have sought outside aid for the children, or fled if you'd feared for yourself.
The choices you speak of are not always clear in crisis. Not in that heartbeat when the first mother begged for her child and I had to decide what I would give her. How could I have known where that path would lead, or that there were others seeking the same answers? And even so, that hesitation would have cost a young life.
Great writing, fascinating story, and I love the responses as well. Like even the responses, like you could say any one of the either one is right, you know, like so it's a matter of personal perspective, which is really awesome. I love these morally gray um games when they do it right, when the writing is proper. So my cipher: to rule another like that, even for mercy, is wrong. We must accept that there are some things we cannot control. The grieving mother's mind is silent and still for several moments. She lets your words wash over her, seeping into the cracks in her own thoughts.
My actions only caused more misery. Worse, I took from an entire village, made them as empty and helpless as the children I sought to protect. But what then? Is it better to stand by in the face of tragedy? To let it wash over the world a hungry tide?
Life is often painful. You can't will it otherwise. Ain't that the truth?
I thought I could. So many minds I had willed into acceptance, mercy. And yet those thoughts became a trap, a prison, for the village and for me. Your words have soothed my mind in ways I did not expect. I thank you, Watcher, for the gift of your sight, for using it to guide me out of the prison of my mind. Let us hope it can also free you from the illusions Theos has woven around you.
Addendum added. So does that mean it's not actually over yet? Oh, here we go. Completed. Dream and memory. Excellent. Okay. So, Grieving Mother's side quest has now been finished. Progress made, ladies and gentlemen. What a sad story. Yeah. That was crazy. Dang, mom, that's messed up. Facts. Yeah, you can't avoid the pain. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. Trials of Durance. Continue to get to know Darren. There must be more to it. So let's try it again. She can free my care. She can free my character from this single life. I said before, I really feel like she should be a romance option. I had questions I wanted to ask you.
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door.
Let's say region and history. Do you know anything about the Deerwood and surrounding nations? You mean the Hollyborn? Yes, you hit the last stab. Did we read this before? Let's see. Let's skip a little bit. Okay, we haven't been through this before, apparently. Do you know anything of the Deerwood and surrounding nations? Deerwood's the best of them, still has spirit, if a land can have one. It's a place where a man can walk freely, even make new roads, and that's a rare thing in this world. Its generations, however, are damned, so no new footfalls may spell an end to it. Do you mean the Hollowborn? Yes. Eothas' last stab in revenge after he was ended. Eothas was the god of rebirth, and his light does not fall on the Deerwood. I've heard some claim it's his doing, his death. It's closed the halls to new souls. He scoffs. I don't believe it. The problem is closer than that, and as always, it involves men and women. And they are always circling, within and without. The Valian Republics, Red Ceres, the Saints' War, one big bladed spiral, shredding everything around it. How do you feel about the Valian Republics? Durant snorts. Fortune seekers garbed in robes of office, manipulators, traitors and traitors all. Don't hold them in high regard. Durance grunts. Any country so obsessed with style might as well be wearing scars over their eyes. Keep vigilant, or they'll turn you into slaves as soon as ink dries on the trade treaty. The dear wood and all its internal riches is too tempting, especially if someone else tames the country and the face painters for them. Face painters? Durance waves his hand dismissively. Tribes, Glanfathans, cluster around the ruins like flies. What about Red Saris? Durance's face flushes and a sheen of sweat forms on his brow. Too many objectives, that so-called nation. Civil unrest, economic collapse, all tender, just needing the right spark. Some farmer shows up, takes a god into himself, then takes a crown on his head. This divine kingdom he tried to set up goes about as well as you'd expect. A trickle of sweat runs down the side of Durance's cheek and sinks into his beard. Suddenly, the population of heretics goes up by about a half, and again, and Aothis starts turning his blood-stained gaze to every blasphemer he can find. Cleaning house is one way to put it. His face darkens and his eye narrows. Purge is another. Put them and their god in their place, though, with enough force to kill that damn country, too. Not a supporter of the country of Red Saris? It's not a country, it's a gathering of cowards, Edir puppets. They used to be an optimistic bunch, a bright bunch. Durance laughs at bright, as if a private joke. Was their undoing. Should have embraced their misery without letting a farmer lead them to a brighter ruin. Durance, wow. Almost Aothis puppets, too. Put an end to that. They dangled on his strings, Wadwin dangled on theirs. They would never have had any success on the battlefield had not their god come down. The Saints' War. Durance snarls. Needed to call on their god to have a chance. Tell me about the Saints' War. Durance's eyebrows draw together in a frown. Then he grunts. Keep forgetting your feet are new to the dear wood. The Saints' War.
Wasn't a war. It was a god stepping past himself. The country of Red Saris and all their heathens. They're paying for it now. Although by my count, the fire should have roared through their country with more force, catching all their souls. Truth, it wasn't even a war. It was a cautionary tale about pride. Specifically, Widewin's pride. He should have stayed a farmer.
Dagon, why are you worried about the 40K storytelling? Is that your word is going to be too dark? Camera. Hi, Durance. Slur. Durance is awesome. I absolutely agree. His writing is incredible. What happened was what? 15, 16 years ago? 2807. Durance pauses, then shakes his head and shrugs. My memories are back with a younger me. I don't hold on to dates. I hold on to actions and causes. The war was an act of arrogance brought straight from Red Saris' twitching legs. A man thinking himself more than a man. Durance snorts. Want to kill someone? Tell him a god speaks through him. Then tell him he means him to lead, which puts him at the front of an army. And the army was as strong as you'd expect for Red Saris, as sick as that country was to begin with. Yet a war was likely just what they needed. What was wrong with the country? Red Saris has its share of troubles. It deserves all of them. It deserves Widewind. He was the light that led them to flame. Red Saris was in decline. A dear poison already eating its veins. Economic bleeding. The dying of their faith. Durance frowns. Then Widewind, this farmer, claims to take up Aothis in the flesh and give them the worst kind of hope. What happened then? They crown him. Durance taps his head, making a slight bow, and when his face turns back to you, he's wearing a feral smile. They make him king, the worst kind of blasphemy. And once he wears the crown on his head and the god in his flesh, why, he starts making changes, divine changes. Durance's eyes blaze. Then he decides he's going to change us, save us. How? He marches on the Deerwood to free us from our beliefs like he freed the other souls in Red Saris. Cold Morn offers up its belly with no resistance, and it's spared. Durant snarls. The bloodshed starts when he sacks Mercy Vale, a touch of irony that puts it to the flame. Cold Morn. Durant spits, snarls, cowards, and Cold Morn is an apt name for them. They lay still, frozen, while their fellows burned. They'll pay Mogren's price one day for such cowardice. What did Aothis do next? Aothis keeps marching. Deerwood takes to the trees, cutting at his flanks, his scouts, his troops. It seemed near hopeless. Durant's face becomes grim, then smiles slightly, until Howe got Citadel, the Godhammer. There we put him to the flame, burn the god out of him, if there ever was one to begin with. Dozen brave men and women take to the bridge, make a stand. Then we torch them there with the fire of the Godhammer. What is the Godhammer?
Gods have taken flesh, in all respects, taking willing and unwilling vessels. It's not a violation, it's what gods do, as long as they accept all that comes with it. Men are weak. Gods? Well, we showed old Widewen that he was flesh and blood, no matter how much light was pouring out of his farmer's hands. Took men of faith to build a weapon, a Godhammer. Judgment. Proved him dead at Halgot Citadel.
It was a weapon of Deerwood's people, their independence. There are few that would deny that Aothis overstepped. The Godhammer reminded Aothis of this. A fire and force so terrifying, so bright, it burned a god away. Dagon, that's all 40K is. Yeah, dark. 40K storytelling, when it's good, gets really ambiguous. I'm worried they might do the adventurous, be a good guy, be a bad guy thing, which isn't 40K. Oh, I got you. It'll be interesting to see what they actually come up with. Durance holds his staff, and his hands lock around it, tracing the etchings. As you watch, the top of the staff blossoms, burns brightly, and Durant speaks, his face illuminated in the fire. A weapon that would burn brighter than Aothis, and we led him to it and burned him at the stake. The stake was the Godhammer, and we impaled him on it. You said you fashioned it? Durance nods. Wasn't easy, shaping it, crafting it, the pieces, the curve of the relic. Even then, it was a massive thing, something that required a god to come to it rather than be cast at him. Though luring him to it, that was the easy part. Gods are prideful. What? Hold on one second, my baby's crying. Sorry about that. Okay. What happened? We led him to fields, ones that he remembered as a farmer, perhaps. The fields right outside Howgott Citadel. Durant's frowns. Now Godhammer Citadel. Plot twist. Sam's whole life was an illusion. The baby is hollow-born. Sam is actually 20 years. See what? Losing in his Amazon Waves cage. No. Absolutely not. Like I read books, you had respectable disease, known cultists, and books where the good Space Marine chapters were basically slavers. It's horrible, but there was clear reasons behind it that made it sensible. I'm looking forward to digging into Warhammer lore and seeing more about how that all works. It was right across the Evan Deerweir Bridge, an easy trek. Durant's frowns. Men died, then more died, luring Aothis into Avon Dur. We had carved veins and paths through the bridge, excavated the foundations, filled them with powder and ember-hungry grains, eager to burn. Our hands had even pried the motor and rock loose, sharpened them to points so they might be rent from their foundations easier and tear through the flesh of that pretender. And so you use Evandur against Aothis.
We poured the Godhammer into its foundations with faith. Set it alight. Let the hammer fall upwards onto the anvil. 8 died before the Godhammer fell, and the Godhammer claimed the remainder, 12 in all.
And Aothis went back to the ether, or the grave. Durance grunts. He lost his voice and his love of war, I'll tell you that much. He sneers. It took only taunts by men, and that was enough to lure him across the bridge and right into the new sun. Durance straightens his back, draws a deep breath. It let Red Sarahs see how bright their arrogance had become, and became a symbol by which we answered their purge with one of our own. Purges?
We started saving the Aothasians from themselves, burning any that didn't die with their god. Heresy in Raed Ceres is one thing. Heresy here in the Deerwood comes with a more personal touch.
Why the purges?
As I see it, every Aothasian who still lives in the Deerwood puts the nation at risk, is another dagger held to the throat of our faith. Root them out, burn them, or send them back to Raed Ceres to wallow in the blood of their failure.
Let me ask more questions. You servant of Whale. All right, that's all we can get out of him for now. All right, good stuff. Children are always way more cute when they belong to others. Yeah, they take a lot of patience, I'll tell you that. Quite a bit of patience. Like just now, she just, my dog does this thing sometimes where it'll be late at night. I don't know if it's like she's talking in her sleep or like she's not fully awake, but she's still at the same time waking herself up. So she's sitting straight up and she's crying and she wants someone to come over and comfort her. You come over, lay a hand or whatever, and she's out like a light in like 5 seconds. It's like, girl, come on now. Now, Amazon. Speaking as one who works there myself, even Sam deserves a better fate. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let him know. Let's just stand there listening to all of this. He has no choice. All right. What is this? Oh, battery watchtower. Right. Okay. So it's like the outer area. I think there's a way we could like swing over if we wanted to. Let me go up there. Let me check. Ooh. Unstrung bow. There's a yeah, see, we could go over here if we wanted to, but I don't want to. Turgan's Crossing. Nah, we'll come up over here. Oh, is that? No, no, no. You don't have to enter from there. There we go. Okay, this is all we can do from here. Back, back, back. And then the bridge, right? The bridge is it? Yeah, the bridge is it.
Be cautious. Be constant.
Me too, Princess. I actually really appreciate games where they do a good job of making it clear how party members feel about the conversations you're having with other party members. Like that banter in the middle of party member quests, I always feel is really, really cool. And Durant's. Actually, yeah, Durant's. And then you come here. Yep. So let's go here. Redfin, regular, regular, regular. Yeah, so Redfin, we'll do this one. You there. And you there. Ooh. Very nice indeed. Very nice indeed there as well. And then you are not paralyzed, even though you should be. So let's work on that. And work on this. Hey, that's done. Awesome. What's my stat modifier for childcare and parenting skills? I think people are always better parents in their minds than they are in real life. But I know that I care a great deal, and I try to do everything I can for my daughter. So, you know, at the end of the day, if nothing else, she'll be able to say she had a father who really cared about her and wanted the very best for her and did everything in his power to do the best he could for her. Whether or not that's actually going to work out and whether or not I'm actually built for this job I've taken on, only time will tell.
If you say so.
But I'm going to give it all I got. Ooh, crap. That was not good. And she's exactly the person I don't want taking this by herself. One of these. Yep. Okay, you're the special one. You're the one. And you're back here. So I guess you'll use her. Woo! And yep, the devil is getting thoroughly hit up right now. No doubt about that. Excellent. Yeah, the Redfin needs to chill. He also needs to chill actually though. Whoa. All right.
Feels sharp as steel.
There we go. Boom, boom.
Certainly.
And that's just regular stuff. What's this? Also regular stuff. It's okay.
Be constant.
How much more? Okay, cool. We're getting... There's something special over there that we're about to get to. What is this? What's this about? Bunch of meat. What is this? Return to fair. Okay, cool. So we're good now. Oh, I had used 2 supplies? I don't remember using more sleeping supplies, but okay. So being a parent requires high wisdom and charisma. I would certainly say so.
If you
Ooh,
say so.
she did disarm the trap. Okay, cool. Oh, so does that mean she's got a higher mechanic skill than Durance does? That's interesting. Hey, I just realized something. Let me make sure. That unstrung bow, greenstone staff. Here, hold on. Enchantments, high to low. I just want to make sure the bow that I'm looking for is not here yet. And I'm pretty sure it's not. Okay, cool. What's this? Forgotten Tear, the beloved of Flail, Karak's brand. Shatterstar, of course, we're going to keep that around. Saint Widewind's Redeemer. Interesting. And it's not, oh, that's Golden Gaze. Okay. Hey, Pilfer's Grip. Interesting things for me to look through. Okay, cool. Is there any way to make the devil more survivable, better party member combat-wise? I like her thus far from what I've seen, but she does seem really squishy. Yeah. To be honest, I don't really think there is because you can't really do anything with her armor. You could, I think, you're able to switch around and make her archer if you wanted to. So that way she'd be all the way in the back and you wouldn't have to worry about how squishy she is. That's one way to go about it. Because, in fact, if I look at her, right, so she's got decent mind, but she really excels in perception and resolve, which is, supposed to be what you would have for a person who's up front. So she's got an 11 in mechanics. Durance only has a 10. Interesting. But yeah, she doesn't actually equip armor. She just has this armor here. It's heavy armor. And you could enchant it, but it's just not going to compare to some of the other armor that you get in the game. So it just is what it is. Nothing's perfect.
You must.
It's hard as mythic bad for them all. Do the 6 shooter thing.
And what does the flame reveal?
6 pistols. Oh, whoops! We already went here. This is the other side of the cave we were already at. I forgot about that. Oh, that's right. You know what? Let me talk to Devil because I think you might have to talk to her in order to get her quest started. The black marvels of her eyes scrape against their sockets as she looks at you. You and Galvino had an unusual relationship.
Only kind to have with someone like him. Or me.
She crosses her arms. You resent him.
No other way to feel about the man who flayed my living soul.
Metal squeals as she shifts her folded arms. How long have you two known each other?
Around about 13 years. Too long, you ask me.
He claimed he made you.
He'd spread butter on bread and claim he made something. Never been accused of modesty, that man.
Her eyes roll wildly.
He managed to stuff my soul into this heap of bronze, true enough. Maybe that makes him a genius. Also makes him a son of a bitch.
She drums her fingers along one scratched bicep. Did you ever consider murdering him?
Every day. Just kept putting it off. It's not like either of us was going anywhere.
What exactly did you do for him? She regards you for several seconds. She shrugs.
Looked after his tools, cleaned the workshop, swung the sledgehammer. Oh, and snatched up travelers for his soul tinkering.
Those other golems, you mean?
But don't you worry. They were all bad folk.
Thank you for telling me.
Just so you know, you got a real professional working for you.
Let's talk about something else.
Yeah, I've had enough of him too.
She drops her arms, relaxing her posture. Why did you want to come with me?
Stalwart's great this time of year. Beareth spells in bloom for a good 5 days, and the mountain squall actually blows the fish stench away from town.
She turns away, clacking the fingers of one hand against her palm.
Better than staying at Galvino's, anyway.
Secrets and half-truths. There is something she keeps from you, Watcher. About Durgan's battery.
Just 'cause I'm made of metal don't mean I got any special fondness for smiths and forges.
She flicks the bronze of her forearm, producing a dissonant ring. I love the way they describe her physical mannerisms as she talks. Like she flicking her fingers and moving this way. Like it to me, it makes the character so much more real. And I don't feel like we necessarily get that with all the rest of them. I feel that with Durant's when he's kind of messing with his staff and making the fire at the top, like it just adds into his character. And then sometimes with Palagina because she's got the bird feathers, so it talks about how they sway as she's moving her head. But for the rest of them, I don't think they have those physical descriptions that really bring out the most out of this the dialogues you have with Devil Carrick. Do you know anything about it?
No more'n what Galvino already told you.
Any thoughts on which villagers I should check?
For fancy dwarven poetry? None of them ever struck me as especially literate. So whichever you can stand to get close to.
She shrugs with a rattling of metal.
And that's on you. I lost my sense of smell 13 years ago.
Do you remember any of the other expeditions that came to Galvino?
Nothing specific. Everyone looks about the same when they got their fingers up their noses.
She pauses thoughtfully. Then her head snaps forward in a tiny, quick moment of realization.
Only the last group, one before you, there was something different about them.
Three of her fingers clench and spasm.
Couldn't put my finger on it, but they was dangerous. Almost felt the hair on the back of my neck.
She runs her hand along the smooth, segmented bronze of her neck.
Ain't felt that way about anyone else walking through Galvino's door, that's for sure.
Never mind.
Murder, tracking, and the best materials for kindling. Those are more my area of expertise.
What was your life like before the Saints' War?
There weren't much to say about it. By my reckoning, that means it was pretty good.
She nods thoughtfully.
Ma was a trapper, taught me to set snares and dress game. Dad was a tinker. I never had his patience, but it were fun to watch him work. My brothers and sister, they was good folk too. Part of me's glad they ain't here to see me now.
Her face is as blank as ever, but her essence ebbs and rises. She turns away. I get the feeling you're not welcome in Stalwart.
I got a reputation. People in these little villages ain't the most open-minded.
Did you murder someone here?
Not yet.
Intellect. Right. I'm supposed to believe that you came all the way to Stalwart 13 years ago for the scenery.
Believe what you want. I killed a lot of folk, but none of them was in Stalwart.
Perception. You answered me pretty quickly. Something you're not telling me?
Plenty. But nothing you need to know.
She turns away. I'd rather discuss another matter. Galvina said you murdered several people before he transferred you.
Effigy's eyes, that man loved to talk.
Her eyes roll in their sockets. Tell me why you killed those people.
If it's sane and logical reasoning you're wanting, you're going to be disappointed. Ain't no sense in any of it.
I've heard parts of your story from others. I'd rather hear the rest from you. A soft hissing noise comes from the bronze golem. You recognize it as a sigh. She is a robot. Yeah, but she's a robot, and they do a fantastic job with her. Like, if it was to the point where you could actually see the characters moving and talk directly with them, Mass Effect style, I'd put her right up there with HK-47. But unfortunately, still to this day, HK-47 is in a lane all his own. Feel like the main problem with her is that heavy armor reduces her attack speed, which kills rogues, but she works with hard-hitting weapons. She has the accuracy for it. Yep, that's true. That's true. She can do a ton of damage, especially if you give her those hard-hitting weapons, but will she stay alive long enough to get that damage in?
Mayhap you've heard of Coldmore. Was a quiet, forgettable patch of the woods. Till a pack of rabid clodhoppers set it afire.
The fingers of one hand twitch and click against one another in a pair of sudden, spastic motions.
That was the start of the purges. Dear Woodens killing their own.
Oh, you don't know about HK-47, Argo? Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. The original one that BioWare did, HK-47 was one of your companions. He's basically a psychotic, murderous robot who always refers to human beings as meat bags and talks about how much he loves when you send him home missions to kill them all. Absolutely sadistic, Absolutely fantastic character. My favorite robot companion to this day. Perception. You're upset. A sudden burst of heat flares from her seams as her essence surges and boils.
A farmer on the other side of the mountains woke up one day with his head all aflame and took it for the gibbering speech of his god. And so did a few thousand of his countrymen. So when he tired of Vorlus fields and marched west, a horde of armed Hicks followed.
Lore. You're talking about Wadwin and the Saints' War.
Bunch of fool nonsense is what I'm talking about. But others have called it the same. If you know that much, then you've heard of Cold Morn. Ours was the village that let a few thousand of Widewind's troops pass through.
You were from Cold Morn? When I heard what happened out there after the war, I couldn't believe my ears.
Fine line between couldn't and wouldn't.
Why didn't you try to stop the Red Sarens?
They had us clean beaten numbers. Even bumpkins like us figured that. Just look at Mercy Vale. They fought back. And now there ain't one stone standing atop another in the whole village.
She sweeps one bronze palm across another, metal screeching.
Besides, we asked the Duke for help. Told him Widewind's troops was coming through the mountains. Seems he had better uses for his soldiers.
She crosses her arms over her plated chest.
So we let Widewind's soldiers pass. Left him for the Duke to wrangle on his own terms.
You hear a soft clink as she flicks her wrist. Take care, Benjamin. Have a good night. Glad you're able to make the stream, man. World Blast and first-person medieval games are always fun and terrifying. I remember my famous streaming Skyrim first time he played it, playing as a sneak. He found one of those giant robots. Stopped sneaking, turned around, and sprinted away. That's awesome. Whenever play those Star Wars games, heard they were great, though. Knights of the Republic 1 and 2 were absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. What was the pistol cheese? Wait, was the pistol cheese a thing in this game, or was that Pillars 2? I think Pillars 2 is the one where you could use the double pistols and have crazy effects with them. Intellect. So Cold Morn was purged in retaliation.
Was after the Godhammer made a fine grit out of Widewind, when Deerwoodens were running on rage and looking for something to burn.
You catch glimmers and glints at her seams as razor-thin wires pull tight within her body.
They came at dark. Hundreds of folk. Every one of them mourning someone lost in the war.
A dry chuckle ticks in her throat.
Must have decided it was our duty to escort their dead back to the wheel. They didn't light their torches till they had us surrounded. Time we saw them, there was a ring of fire closing around us.
She pauses, and a mechanism in the back of her skull clicks dully.
I woke. Ran to the window. Whole village were a maze of flames. Couldn't see nothing for the smoke. And the screams.
Her thumb spasms to a strange rhythmic beat.
Most ran for the streets. Got caught by the mob. Others hid, let their houses burn down around them.
I'm so sorry. That's terrible.
You're the only person in the Deerwood who thinks so. Me, I'm surprised the Duke didn't make our massacre a festival day.
What did you do to survive?
Ran, fought, hid, burned. Same as my neighbors and family. Just luckier.
What does that have to do with your crimes?
Hunting down the men and women what took part. Thought that much was clear.
But you only kill people who attack Cold Morn, right?
Sure.
Her voice is flat and as expressionless as her face.
You want me to tell you straight? I found the men and women what destroyed my village, and I burned their houses down around them. Sometimes they was alone, and sometimes they wasn't.
She shrugs. What exactly did you hope to accomplish?
It were a mob that destroyed our village, but it was just one man that burned my family's house. Kept hoping I'd get to him as I was working my way through the rest of those maggots. No matter now, I suppose.
A sigh rattles out of her bronze skull, but her essence whips and twitches, as restless as a cat's tail. That's all. Interesting. The one that got away. All right, now we got the quest. All right, and we did all of this. So let's
Certainly.
go back. Whoops. We can come back over here.
Sharp eyes and keen ears.
Boom. Or was I was in the third person. He didn't stand, turn around. He did it while he was sneaking, so you could just see this kitty turn around to waddle. Then instead of that's awesome. Honestly, when I played this, everyone had an arquebus or arbalest. So first round of combat, somebody gets shot 5 times, and I switched to whatever they're supposed to be using. Yep, that's another way you could play. It just doesn't appeal to me. I like having all of my partner members do something different. You know, I don't like them all kind of stacking up and doing the same thing. I only have Grieving Mother on the team because I love the interactions between her and my Cypher character so much. But otherwise, I wouldn't have 2 characters that are essentially the same class on the team together. Ah, we're at the stairs. Okay, cool. No startup aiming on firearms is brutal. Yeah, it takes a while to rev up. But it's totally viable to have everybody on your entire party using them. It's absolutely viable.
That caravan must have had a half-ton of steel. Coinmaster Zoltan's finally getting his way.
For now, the other commandants will have his head.
Only if they don't tear each other to pieces first. I heard Maroon and Exandru.
Shh. Last thing I want is to get on Maroon's bad side.
Fine, just say the words then. I'm getting hoarse.
Oh, really? Most of them had no gun skills? Oh, that's cool. Just a way to open up while enemies are trying to close into range, right?
Maybe they had one really tall dwarf who needed a door this big.
Great observation, Eder. Why do they need a door that large? All right, and we finally have looked at it all. I think I have to go to the other side here to finally, yeah, okay, we can get out from there. Come on. All right. So now we're finally ready to go back so that we can turn in a bunch of quests. Maybe even, I think we might be able to do Devil's Quest when we go back. And then we'll finally be ready to enter Durgan's Battery. I think this is a good place to stop. We've been at it for a little while now. I wanted to kind of make up for lost time since it's been a while since I streamed. But I am getting kind of tired. So it's we're going to probably go ahead and end it here. I was just abusing the no attack activation time on guns. After they fire, they drop it for their real weapon, and I reload after combat was over. Yeah, you could do that, but that's a lot of micromanagement too. Like, they don't automatically drop it, right? So you have to basically let them all fire and then manually switch them back to their actual weapon that they should be using, and then switch them back at the end of combat so that they'll do it again. Effective, but more than what I'm willing to do. Thanks, Argo. Glad you're able to make it. Princess, appreciate you. Glad you're able to make it. Hope you have a good night. You too, Dagon. Take care. Take care, everyone. Glad you were able to make the stream. Hope you enjoyed it.